He's managed to get himself on the inside, but he's caught up on the curve. Sean Allen, the outside special. We've had a huge crash. This can't be real.
I think he might have this job done finally. Even Warren gives him no space. He's in the wall. He's in the wall. Turn 4, he's taken out Bruce Dean as well. Oh, big moment there. Kurt Stenberg on his roof.
Big crash in turn 4. That is an unfortunate huge crash. Oh, the huge wiggle on thought he was clear.
Good evening everyone and welcome to round 7 of the Automobilista Supercars Championship for the Sydney SuperNight. That is not a mistake. We are racing for the second round in a row at the Sydney Motorsport Park complex, this time at night, thanks to the COVID restrictions in real life which have prevented us from racing in Winton, and we are following now the real life calendar as it occurs, and so subject to change because of COVID restrictions. My name's Alistair Schmidt. Most of you know me as Stairs, and I'm joined in commentary tonight by Madbird, also known as Liam Harrison.
Yes, also known as my birth name. Welcome along everybody, and we are here in Sydney, second race in a row, so there's going to be absolutely no excuse for us not knowing the track, especially me. But we do have a few changes, and we look forward to bringing you some excellent racing tonight, as we did last week. Or not last week, last round, Stairs.
That's right. Well, we've seen a little bit of action already under lights in the Super 2 races last night, which took place on this channel, and it was carnage in race 1 with lots of cars spinning. It was a bit of a safety car fest with this incident, the original cause of the safety car, and then a huge crash on the restart, which brought the safety car out once again. Here it is in replay, Madbird.
Jesus, yeah, this is my first time seeing this, so you'll have to bear with me as I watch this myself. My goodness, that's...
Yeah, as championship leader there, RSM Latino, actually, in the middle of that melee. Cars up on their roof, all sorts of things happening. I think you could liken it to the incident at the start of Spa 1998.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, it's your first time seeing this, so you haven't had that thought before.
I haven't had that thought before. This is very, yeah, that's, you can see a car in there, back there, on its roof.
Yep, the incident continuing into turn 1 here.
Kurt Stenberg's father, of course, having a bit of a spin, and then we're back behind the safety car again, Steve Burko in the lead.
That's right, Steve Burko did have the lead and then lost it on the final lap dash to the line. That was Steve Warwick jumping cars on the line before the safety car restart, and then having Steve Burko off at the first corner. So hugely bad luck for Steve Burko, which allowed Brett Jarretts to come across the line and take the win from the debutant Liam Budd and Matt Cecil rounding out the podium. That was race 1, and then progressive grid, race 2, it was all about Benjamin Dahlia. He had a 5-second lead over Stephen Burko, who recovered well to finish second in that second race. And Benjamin Dahlia, the Victorian Formula Ford champion, who's we've often seen in the main series as a wild card. And then Steve Burko and Benjamin Dahlia, they had a good race in race number 3. Steve Burko, in fact, leading every lap of the third race until he bowled it wide down at the final corner of the final lap, and Benjamin Dahlia went through to take victory in race number 3.
Gutted, absolutely gutted. So I expect we might see Benjamin Dahlia tonight as a wild card. He seems to be bloody quick, and as you'd expect, being a real-life Formula Ford champion, you would expect that to be the case. Here's the points for the Super 2. So RSM Latino still in the lead there, but Steve Burko closing him down slightly. Benjamin Dahlia very close behind Steve Burko, so Steve going to be ruining that last corner error on the third race there. Brett Jarrett's in 4th place with Steve Warwick behind him. A little bit behind him, Matt Cecil, followed by Tony and Brap, Acclaim Bite, and Wayne Carr, our admin, rounding out the top 10. Yeah,
poor old Wayne Carr hasn't managed to race in the Super 2 for the last 2 rounds, so hoping all is well in Wayne Carr land. Moving swiftly on from that, we're going to take a little bit of a look at the results from the round last time we were at this track in the daylight, and it was Dane Warren who was pretty difficult to beat in the first race. Sean Allen only about 6 seconds behind, so did a decent job, and Colin Warwick getting his first podium of the year. Good job there. Kurt Stenberg finished in 4th, David Nenadic in 5th, Benjamin Dahlia, the wild card that we just mentioned, finishing 6th last time at Sydney Motorsport Park in the main game. Brody Steen, Ethan Warren, and RSM Latino and Zach Baker rounding out the top 10 for race 11.
Yeah, and then in race 12, Sean Allen managed to pip a win with Dane Warren having a few errors early on. Ethan Warren, the other Warren brother, was the one to capitalise in that case, bringing home a 2nd place, and Brody Steen making it 2 Race on Oz cars on the podium, with Kurt Stenberg another strong finish in 4th, but not as strong as he would probably be wanting to. The big 4-headed Loke Rosella in 5th, Benjamin Dahlia in 6th, RSM Latino 7th, Alex Cattle for the sister Race on Oz team in 8th, so a very good showing from Race on Oz in race 2 last time out.
And then it was a return to form for Dane Warren in race number 13. Unlucky for some, but not for Dane Warren, Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen, who got the set of 1st, 2nd and 3rd throughout the round, did Sean Allen. Zach Baker finished in 4th, strong finish for ZB Racing there. Brody Steen in 5th. It was another strong round for the Race on Oz guys. Benjamin Dahlia 6th again. Luke Rosella in 7th. David Nenadic, Thomas McMillan and RSM Latino rounding out the 10. And what that's done to the points, well, still Dane Warren very, very clear at the top of the championship. Of course, now with the privateer livery, so he's not running for Altus Esports anymore. And Sean Allen in 2nd place, doing a very, very strong job. But Kurt Stenberg, defending champion, is on the up into 3rd place now. Brody Steen in 4th, Zach Baker in 5th, Colin Warwick in 6th, David Nenadic in 7th, RSM Latino in 8th, the Super 2 Championship leader. And then further down, we've got a few guys who we haven't seen for a few rounds. Jake Maloney's missed a couple of rounds. He was back for a couple of the races last round, but down there in 11th place, we're hoping to see some of these guys return very, very soon indeed. And apologies to Ethan Warren for my misspelling of his name. Errant R has found its way into his first name.
Warren. I'm sure he won't be too upset with that one. So, this is the teams points classification. So Race on Oz with a bit of a commanding lead, about 500 points there over ZB Racing, the closest 2-car team on the grid. Then we've got Trans-Tasman Racing in 3rd. That is Kurt Stenberg and Jake Maloney's team, but Jake Maloney has been missing a few rounds. And Kurt Stenberg has probably been underperforming a little bit, he would say. So they are on the up still. Logitech G Altus Esports in 4th, but of course no longer in existence, or at least not for the Warrens, are currently sitting in 4th place.
Very much so. Well, that's what happened last round. Now let's talk, well, we still got a little bit of vision from last round. In fact, it was tyres that were the talk of the night, with cars going off all over the place with very, very worn tyres in the middle of the race. We had ×3 tyre wear, which meant that the tyre pit stop, well, the pit stop window was a very, very narrow one, and they had to come in basically at the exact right lap, or this would happen. Madbird. We saw a lot of this happening to very, very well-credentialed drivers.
Yeah, you just saw then on your screens was Dane Warren taking himself out of the lead of the race with that exact issue, and you can see just it was like one lap to another. They were fine and then immediately exploded, and it was about the exact midpoint of the race they needed to get in for fresh tyres, or they were going to be looking like Brody Steen is on your screen right now, spinning out and into the grass, and basically trying to control a carriage without any horses on it. And you can see Thomas McMillan. Oh, that's not unknown for Thomas McMillan.
Yeah, he didn't have a great race, a great round last time out. Actually, it ended up...
Oh, that one I forgot about. Dane Warren slamming into Zach Baker. Sorry, I cut across you.
That's all right. And then Colin Warwick as well, losing out on a handful of points right at the end of the final race as well. He got taken out by Thomas McMillan in the second race right at the start as well. So apart from the podium that he got in the very, very first race that we mentioned a little bit earlier on in the broadcast, it was a bit of an unlucky night for him.
Yeah, a bit of a night to forget for Colin Warwick. So hopefully tonight will be better. He is currently sitting second in the practice timesheets, about 1/10 of a second off Kurt Stenberg. So let's hope that bodes well for him tonight, but I can see lurking in the server, but not with a lap time, is Dane Warren. So the king of SMP, I've just named him, even though he only got 2 wins out of 3 last week. So perhaps you know, Viceroy of SMP. I'm waffling just a tiny bit. If you're watching, welcome along. Hope you're having a great night. Hope you're excited for a excellent round of races tonight. Hop in the chat and say hello to us. We'd love to have a chat and see all of your predictions and all your thoughts about the racing. And
a couple of people already in there. Lachlan Horan, Super 2 Championship driver, and Blair Warren, father of Dane and Ethan, in the chat. Something strange going on with Thomas McMillan's car there.
I think we had that on the grid last round. Someone was having a bit of a funky piece of hydraulic.
But here is the racetrack we are at tonight, Sydney Motorsport Park. The circuit length hasn't changed since round 6. It's still 3.93 kilometres, and all the hot spots are as they were. But we are in the dark, and we are running ×2 tyre wear this time instead of ×3. So that pit window should be a little bit wider, and we might see some more laps in qualifying because they won't be so concerned about using up their tyres in qualifying. They get 4 sets.
Yep, so they, and as you said, ×2 instead of ×3. So the previous pole sitters, Dane Warren, Dane Warren, Dane Warren.
Exactly.
Give me a Dane Warren on pole position.
So 26.758, just for your reference, Madbird. That is the qualifying record Dane Warren set last time we were here.
Got a lot of flashing of lights as they come down the pit lane. I reckon we've got a few of them listening in. I know Thomas McMillan likes to, and he's certainly flashing his lights. So hope that we get to see that Pleb Sim Sport VB long neck Commodore up towards the pointy end of the grid tonight.
So Thomas McMillan is the first man out onto
first
the
mate.
First mate onto the racetrack.
Yeah, I guess you could call him a mate. I've spoken to him out of sim racing context potentially twice. But you know, he seems like a right fella.
He is good, but he didn't really have a great race the last round, all the round before that, to be honest. I think he was getting used to some new equipment, but he was also in bed apparently until about 5 o'clock before I think it was the round in Pukekohe Park. A couple more people coming through in chat. Mick Racing 16. Recovered from rollover, ready to watch the supercars. So one of the victims, I believe, from last night's Super 2 incident.
Yep, and we've got Nathan Higginson just saying, evening gents, sitting something in the 1993-2002 mod, sitting in working on the 1993 to 2002 mod, so very nice. Always good to see some fresh modding on the scene. Probably the biggest reason that we're currently not looking to move to Automobilista 2 is a complete lack of mod support stairs. So the mod scene for Automobilista hopefully will be going strong for a very long time to come.
100% concur. Let's jump on board for the first lap of qualifying with Thomas McMillan as he goes through this incredibly long, fast, open left-hander at turn 1, down into a bit of a wiggle under brakes there. This is an overtaking opportunity down there at turn number 2, and then get it over, across, up the hill, and you've got this crest coming up after turn 3, down the hill, all the way down to turn 4, and then it's left-hander after left-hander after left-hander. This track has been difficult on tyres in the past, but ×3 tyre wear, we saw that was incredibly effective on the race result last time. This time it's going to be a very different strategy game entirely.
Yeah, it is. You can see he's running the ragged edge of this car. He's got a bit of a tank slapper on coming out of turn 6, but he managed to hold onto it. And then down into the hairpin at turn 8, a little bit deep. Does not trouble the apex there, but he gets it hooked up nice on the exit. Gets a nice bit of runoff. And on down towards the last couple of corners, 9 and 10, which I always sort of combine in my head into one horror show. You can go very wide on this last corner here at turn 11, get right out on that pavement and get a good slingshot onto the start-finish straight. You want to get out onto the runoff there, as you can see Dane Warren doing.
Yeah, we'll just cut off the end of Thomas McMillan's lap because Dane Warren is about to set a fast lap. And
Oh.
second, so lost a bit of time. He was purple to the first and second sector, but has about a tenth of a second, sorry, 1.1 seconds to find. So he's made a mistake, I think, on that final sector, as Dane Warren.
Still, not a terrible lap time from Thomas McMillan, 28.2, and indeed no one's actually managed to beat it yet. Kurt Stenberg, RSM Latino, and Colin Warwick all over a second down as well. So maybe everyone sort of got checked up behind each other and had to calm down. Looks like business is resuming as normal. Dane Warren is 3/10 up through the second sector.
RSM Latino sat in 4th place. Kurt Stenberg went into the pits after his lap, but Dane going for that multi-lap run, getting some heat in the tyres, and well, we often see this. Gets some of the best laps later on, but having said that, he usually throws down the gauntlet with his first lap. David Nenadic has gone in 2nd place.
Dane Warren just coming up to the last sector split here. So he is over a second up on the current pole time of Thomas McMillan. So expect this to be a new provisional pole from Dane Warren. He gets very wide there on the last corner, but you are allowed to do that. Plenty of leeway there as he slingshots himself onto the start-finish straight. Lots of runoff.
Using all the curb.
Using all the track that he possibly can as he shoots on down towards the line. And he crosses it with a 126.712.
There it goes. Bam. That's the record. Straight away. Wow.
Yep. Didn't make us worry or wait or ponder whether he was going to do it. His second lap on the track, and he beat his fastest one from last time out. RSM Latino bumps himself up into 5th place.
So Zach Baker's gone in 3rd. That's a great job from him. Thomas McMillan, well, that's the lap that he set to get into 1st. It's been bumped down to 2nd, of course, so well done so far to these guys.
Bit of a awkward first hairpin there at turn 2 for RSM Latino, so I imagine that won't be a lap to write home about. He is about to cross the first sector split, so we'll get an idea of it. And he is down on his personal best, and of course down on the pole position lap as well.
So I'm just waiting. Kurt Stenberg's on an out lap. Colin Warwick is just making his way out of the pits as we speak. And Sean Allen yet to set a lap as well, so we expect to see him up there. He won a race in the previous round, as we saw. Dane Warren is just coming into the pits right now.
Yeah, Sean Allen's sort of working his way into the season now. He had a pretty forgettable first half of the season, but he's managed to pull it together in the last couple of rounds with some very, very solid finishes and lots of podiums, so very well done for him, working his way back into it. We've got Zach Baker just coming down through turn 3 now, so he's about to cross the... Whoa!
Oh, that was a wiggle.
That was one hell of a wiggle, very well caught. Hasn't helped his lap time though, he's only just down on his PB, but still, and that won't help there either. A bit of oversteer coming through turn 4, so a bit of a scrappy lap there for the DB Racing guy.
Yes, so Dane Warren just on his out lap. Zach Baker, the one we're watching at the moment. No one really setting the timing right at the moment. RSM Latino has just started a lap as well. And we're just going to watch the end of this lap from Zach Baker as we're about to get a bunch of laps coming in thick and fast after this. I apologise if you're experiencing a little bit of stuttering. We'll try and endeavour to fix that as the night goes on. Unfortunately, the encoder for our broadcast doesn't really like these night races with all the headlights. It's a little bit tricky sometimes, so we'll see if we can find a way to fix that.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra stress on the old computers. EB has
come in.
He's abandoned that particular lap into the pits, but we've got Colin Warwick coming around the first corner to start his hot lap, so he's hoping to improve on his current 7th place on the grid. So let's cross fingers that he is able to do a better time than that this time around. Just coming up to the first sector split, got a little bit of a wiggle, but held onto it quite well. He comes down and into turn 4, and he is the better part of 0.4 of a second up on his current time.
I'm just watching on the other screen RSM Latino, who went very, very wide at that final corner, so we're going to see if that causes track limits. In fact, he's coming to the pits, so I reckon he could get a track cut. So there is tarmac runoff on some of these corners, and they don't necessarily punish you, but if you do go too wide. If what I call the taking the piss line. That's
literally the words I was about to say.
That's when the game sometimes does give you a little bit of a warning. Oh, here we go. We've got a car on the wall here. This is Alex Cattle, who's just had a bit of a spin there. And those headlights. I was just wondering if there was someone about to join him. Here is the replay of Alex Cattle.
Turn 4 by the looks of it.
I might the last corner by the looks of it. Yeah, under brakes. Tricky braking zone. Very difficult to get that one right. And Alex Cattle has found the outside of the wall right at the end of the lap, which is a shame for him. He's back in the pits. As a result, as we rejoin live pictures as Colin Warwick slides his way through there. I think that was turn 1.
I reckon it was. So he didn't improve on the last time out, so he's still sitting in 7th place. So must have had a scrappy second or scrappy end of the lap. So he's hoping to improve, but with a first corner like that, he's not likely to, and definitely not now. He's 4 tenths down on his PB, so they've only got 35 seconds left to set a lap time.
Let's see if he can improve Dane Warren to the line. A second down. So we're seeing this again from Dane. About a second off the pace on the first lap, maybe just bedding the tyres in, getting the heat in there, and then on the second lap we see the real pace.
Yeah.
Kurt Stenberg's gone second, by the way.
Yeah, Dane Warren's fake pace, where he's just warming the tyres just for you guys sitting at home, would be good enough for 3rd place at the moment. So his tyre warming pace is about the same as Sean Allen's real pace, and look, he's up already 1.5 tenths through the first sector. So I reckon that qualifying record is going to be smashed once again.
I was wondering if the darker conditions would make it harder to match the times that we saw in the first round here at Sydney Motorsport Park, but it hasn't been the case so far.
Whoa. He's managed to keep his foot in it quite well, considering what a moment that was. There'd be a little bit of poo in that seat, I imagine.
Yeah,
Just a little, comes down into the hairpin, turn 8. So we'll get to see here as he comes out through the last sector split. He is still up by 1.5 tenths, so he might have lost a little bit of time, but he was gaining time before that. He is still on track to set a faster lap time and consolidate that pole position. Time has clicked over to 0, so only the cars that are currently on a lap will be able to finish one, which I believe is just himself, Sean Allen, and Brody Steen are out there. And he improved.
26.6, so he lost a little bit through the final sector, but that is remarkably consistent. A terrific job from Dane Warren. Sean Allen to the line. Can he improve on 3rd place? No, he can't. He still sets personal best, but it's not quite enough. And we've got one more car coming across to finish a lap, and that is Sean Allen's teammate Brody Steen, who is actually abandoning that lap and coming into the pits. Well, pole position for Dane Warren. Shout out to Dane Warren's grandfather, Bill Warren, who apparently loves us, number 1 fans. So
we love you too, Bill.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate your son or your grandsons and what they do for us.
Absolutely.
Rodney Andrews says, a little bit of poo in that seed. Classic Mad Bird.
Yep. Thanks, Tyrrell. Appreciate it, mate. And Mr. D. Beachy just saying, nice save. I imagine that was in relation to that save we saw from Dane Warren on his final lap. Mick Racing 16 saying he feels Alex Cattle's pain in that braking zone. It's very tricky. It is sort of a right-left kink, and you've got to be braking as you're coming into the right-hander. So quite tricky indeed, Stairs.
Very much so. Now, one thing that we have been alluding to in the races past is your bet with Lewis Kugley, and we were going to save this feature up for when we eventually did Winton, but now the content of it
who knows if we ever will.
We might not get to, because it was designed to be played on the anniversary of Winton, and it might soon become out of date. So please enjoy this feature about a little thing that occurred last year. Okay, so the subject of today's whiteboard discussion is Lewis Kugley's $10 bet with Madbird. Let's go over the details of it. It was quite a while ago, but on the 28th of May 2019, Lewis made a bet with Madbird during one of our broadcasts that Thomas McMillan would finish 3rd in race 2 at Winton. What happened? Thomas ran out of fuel on the final lap while running in 3rd place, allowing Colin Warwick to overtake him for 3rd place on the final lap of the race, thus meaning that Madbird was the winner of the $10 bet,
But as has been discussed at length in previous broadcasts, Lewis Kugley has not paid Madbird the $10. So the question to my mind is, should we apply the Reserve Bank of Australia's official interest rate to the principal of $10 there, or index it according to the Consumer Price Index, like a HEX debt? Let's talk about what that would do to the totals. So it's been quite a turbulent 12 months for the Reserve Bank of Australia's official interest rate, with various things happening like the coronavirus. So we've had a 1% rate slashed to 0.75%, then to 0.5%, and then finally to 0.25% on the 20th of March. So we get a total of 7 cents of interest over that 12 months. So if we tack that massive total of 7 cents onto our $10, we achieve $10.07 owing, which is remarkably different. Now, if we use the CPI, the actual rate for the CPI, which is used to measure the rate of inflation in this country, 1.8%. That's what your HEX debt would have got indexed at if you had one. So your total interest there is 18 cents, 0.18. So if you total the $10 and the 18 cents there, you get $10.18. So that's something to keep in mind. A few other little things, mainly of academic interest, but say that Madbird had received his $10 on the day that he won the bet, and he put all of that money on Qantas at the time, trading at $5.50 a share. The percentage that's gone down, that would now be worth $6.16. So not a good time to be invested in airlines. However, if he'd put that money on Woolworths, which has of course seen quite a surge, that money would now be worth $11.71.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Stairs, for that insightful and I think very intriguing look at the fact that I'm still owed at least $10, but possibly more, or maybe just a tiny bit less if I'd been foolish enough to put that money into Qantas stocks just before a global pandemic and travel lockdown, which of course I would not be so silly to do. So we are here at the Sydney Motorsport Park. We just had qualifying. Dane Warren has set another blistering lap time, blown the last qualifying session qualifying record, from last round out the water. He is on top once again, and we are just in a warm-up session while we wait. And as you can see, himself and Thomas McMillan having a good little practice scrap, and a little bit of bumping and barging as they come through the last corner.
Very good indeed. I hope to see a bit of this in the race, what they're doing right now.
Yes, absolutely.
Bit of a disappointing turnout, only 10, so that's not huge numbers. We're used to seeing a lot more than that, so some of that can probably be attributed to the fact that we're doing the same racetrack again. But I certainly hope that we don't see that sort of stuff happening in the race. I think this is all just them getting their aggression out. Colin Warwick, I think, still harbouring a little bit of resentment towards what Thomas McMillan did to him last round when he took him out on the first, it was the first lap of the
first race, I think, wasn't it?
Second race.
Second race, because he got the podium in the first race. Yes, lots of shattered body parts, all over both car and human, all over the track there. And we are ready here for race number 1. So we are at the Sydney Motorsport Park once again for round 7, and 16 laps, 60 kilometres. Tyre wear is down to ×2 this time around. So instead of the tyres roughly on turn or lap 8, just exploding into nothingness and shreds, they will instead hopefully last a little bit longer. 2 times tyre wear. That track record is probably going to be obliterated once again. 1:26.764 by Dane Warren last time out. And previous winners, Dane Warren with Sean Allen splitting him in race number 2. Dane Warren again in race number 3 last time out. So here we are, Stairs, on the grid.
On the grid indeed. Just waiting for the warm-up lap to begin.
Yep, and they are off, so Dane Warren is on has begun his run on the warm-up lap. Kurt Stenberg in second place, and a decent qualifying there for Kurt Stenberg. Behind him is Sean Allen running in third, with Thomas McMillan in fourth place. Other Race on Oz driver Brody Steen in fifth, and the first of these EB racing cars, Zach Baker, in sixth. Missing David Nedidich tonight. No, we aren't. He's down in eighth, which I would see if I'd looked just a little bit further along. So we've got Kurt Stenberg in seventh, Colin Warwick even in seventh. Do apologise. David Nedidich, who I just said is not here, in eighth. Behind him we have got RSM Latino in ninth, and rounding out 10 is Alex Cattle.
Well, that didn't take too long, did it?
Absolutely. As Lachlan Horan in the chat has just said, Super 2 had more drivers last night, so maybe we should call up some more wild cards next time around.
Maybe.
Mr. DB.
Did you see some of their driving?
No, that's a very good point. But I mean, hey, it would give us something to scream about.
Well, that's it. We definitely need that.
Mr. DB saying he's ready. Good luck to all the drivers. Absolutely. Hope that we get some very good racing here tonight.
Yes. Unfortunately, our efforts to stop the stuttering have not fixed this issue. So we believe once the cars start to spread out a little bit, there won't be so much of the stuttering. So bear with us. These technical issues always tend to rear their ugly head on broadcast night, and usually are completely absent throughout any of the testing that we do. Countless hours of throughout the week.
Also, I mean, and often the drivers have issues with night races as well, because I don't think Automobilista handles light refraction and all that sort of stuff, and shadows particularly well. So people have a lot of issues while they're doing their practice. Dane Warren overshooting his grid slot again, which he did, I think, every race last round out as well. We've got the last of them stuttering into place, so you'll have to bear with us. It will improve, but we are ready for the race start, Stairs.
We certainly are.
So just waiting for the lights.
The revs will rise, and we're going to get racing. Off they go, and a great start from Kurt Stenberg. Looks like he's got the jump on Dane Warren there, and may well get the whole shot through into the first corner. Thomas McMillan in third place is putting some pressure on Dane Warren already. And look who's gone wide. It's one of the ZB cars. Can't quite tell at this stage who that is, but what a great start from Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, absolutely. Got the whole shot through the turn one. And looked like Thomas McMillan gave Dane Warren just a barest little bit of a nudge there going through turn 3. We saw how they were going during warm-up through turn 1. They were biffing and barging and crashing each other off, so probably good. Dane Warren was probably a little bit concerned seeing Thomas McMillan behind him. Thomas McMillan nearly taking out our cameraman. He's got Sean Allen right up his chuff, and it almost looked like he was bump drafting.
So Kurt Stenberg leads the way, Dane Warren in second, Thomas McMillan in third, Sean Allen in fourth, Brody Steen in fifth, Colin Warwick in sixth, David Nedidich in seventh. A bit of a bad start for the ZB guys with Zach Baker going off at the first corner. RSM Latino's just had a moment, gone down to 10th place. We'll try and see what's happened to him.
Yep, so Kurt Stenberg still leading at the moment by about half a second over Dane Warren. But Dane Warren, we know, is absolutely mighty. Here is a replay of that incident. So it looked like he just went very deep at turn 5. And then Alex Cattle rather managed to get through on him coming down to the hairpin at turn 8.
So as they complete the first lap, Kurt Stenberg is in the lead, but Dane Warren is starting to hunt him down. They both gapped Thomas McMillan by a couple of seconds already.
Yeah, so Thomas McMillan having to worry about Sean Allen right behind him. You can see him there very close together, and Brody Steen not too far behind as well. So Dane Warren doing well to keep the pressure on Kurt Stenberg. Coming through turn 2, it's under half a second between the two of them, and he's just got to try to keep as much pressure on as he possibly can.
Yes, we'll stick with this lead battle.
What's happened to Sean Allen? He's down in 9th place. I just saw on the other screen him battling with RSM Latino. I thought that can't be right. So something's happened with Sean Allen. Maybe an incident with Thomas McMillan, because he has also lost a place down into 4th place. Brody Steen now up into the podium position.
We'll try and stick with this lead battle. I said immediately made a liar of by the incident there, and we're just queuing up a replay, and we're gonna see him go wide shortly down at turn 2. And he was right behind Thomas McMillan at the time, and this was 3rd and 4th place.
looks like he just completely lost his braking zone. And actually, I might have thrown Thomas Millen under the bus there a little bit, implying that it was him.
He wasn't involved, I believe.
Yeah, it looked like it was completely self-inflicted. Unfortunate for Sean Allen. He's now back up to 8th, but still, he was in a good fight for the podium positions. So his teammate Brodie Steen instead has taken over that fight, but here we still have that fight for the lead, with Dane Warren down to a couple of tenths of a second, behind Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, so Kurt Stenberg holding his own now. 3 laps complete, or 3 laps complete at the end of this lap. It's still a matter of this corner to complete, and then he can say he's led Dane Warren. Oh, sorry, a completely different part of the racetrack to what I thought. And now I just saw in the background Thomas McMillan making a move for what looked like 3rd place.
Yeah, he's now in the podium positions only just by the looks of it. So he's made that position up on Brodie Steen.
And we'll stick with this though, because it's Dane Warren all over the back of Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion, but I don't think it's controversial to say that, because, yeah, Dane Warren all over the back of Kurt Stenberg, and we saw Kurt Stenberg was, he was only 4 tenths of a second down on Dane Warren during qualifying, which was pretty close. Dane Warren dives up the inside at turn 8. That was a bold move, but it looks like it's come off. He's managed to hang on to the inside, but Kurt Stenberg, with a little bit more speed around the outside coming out of the hairpin, he's managed to hold on to that lead.
So great job there from Kurt Stenberg to keep Dane Warren behind, but look, there is a little bit of a wide line there from Kurt Stenberg. Is that going to allow Dane Warren to get a bit of a run down this start-finish straight?
Yeah, it looks like it. He's already looking to swip out of the slipstream and go for the inside at turn 1. It's such a tricky corner to try to make a pass on his turn 1, because if you're on the inside, you completely compromise your run down to turn 2, because you lose out on so much speed. He's going for the inside at turn 2. Kurt Stenberg driving around the outside leaves him the room, and it looks like that's job done for Dane Warren. Kurt Stenberg actually hanging on to the inside through turn 3, and he's taken it back. This is a fantastic scrap. Dane Warren now looking for the inside down into turn 4, and he's managed that. Kurt Stenberg, if he can hang on around the outside there, will have the inside to turn 5. They're swapping back and forth like crazy. Kurt Stenberg hangs onto the lead stairs.
Wow, this is a great little battle. Kurt Stenberg has found some pace in the few weeks since then. Dane Warren down the inside, gets the position. Is there a potential switch back on for Kurt Stenberg? Not quite. He's going to get a good run though. He's going to stick his nose in. Kurt Stenberg, oh, that was very, very close. Dane Warren didn't really shut the door. He's putting his car in all the right places now. Oh, defensive line into there. Does he have the pace right now? Because Kurt Stenberg is rattling him.
He is, and I reckon Kurt Stenberg knows that he cannot let Dane Warren build even a tiny gap, because the second that Kurt Stenberg is not pressing his front bumper to the rear bumper of Dane Warren, he's going to shoot off into the distance. So he has got to keep his car well and truly in touch with the Commodore of Dane Warren. He's lost a couple of tenths there coming through the last corner. We've got a nice onboard here showing he's got so much pace in the slipstream, but he's got nowhere to go with it. Dane Warren checks it up on the apex, and looked like he was just tapping on the brakes a little bit there, making Kurt Stenberg think about it. Going for the inside is Kurt Stenberg at turn 2, sticks his nose up. That was a dive from a mile and a half back, but it looks like it might have paid off for him. He's managed to keep side by side with Dane Warren through turn 2, and then turn 3.
Still around the outside, but unfortunately the track goes the wrong way for Kurt. Dane Warren will have the inside for the next corner, and Kurt has so much grip around the outside. It's terrific. You can run these multiple lines, and they again go side by side. This is the championship leader and the defending champion going hammer and tongs. This is what we've been waiting to see all year.
Yeah, we've been waiting for Kurt Stenberg to come alive. It may have taken until around 7, but it has happened. Kurt Stenberg loses out there coming through turn 6, but he's still on the back of Dane Warren as they come down to the turn 8 hairpin. Gets a much wider line as Dane Warren goes very defensive. Kurt Stenberg might sweep up the inside. He does. He manages to get side by side with Dane Warren coming out of the hairpin.
Oh, but Dane Warren has still got the preferred line coming into this final sequence of corners. Kurt's trying to hang it up on the outside, but he doesn't quite have it. Is he going to sneak through here? Yes, he is! And he completely arrests Dane Warren's run. There's a chance for a switchback for Dane Warren. It's a drag race to the line. This isn't the last lap, ladies and gentlemen. They still have to have a pit stop. But imagine if this was the last lap, it would be Kurt Stenberg by a nose. But Dane Warren still has the inside, and they're going to sweep through. Dane Warren muscles Kurt Stenberg through the inside of turn 1. And that was tight. There's absolutely no way that Dane Warren isn't sending it down here at turn 2. And Kurt's gone very, very wide.
He's gone hugely deep at the hairpin. He gets a decent run out of it as a result, and he's still right on the back of Dane Warren, but he lost that all by himself. Looks like he just completely forgot his braking zone.
Whoa!
Won't be forgiven. He tries to stick it up the inside at turn 4. He manages to, but he's knocked Dane Warren off. That was a little bit dirty.
I'm not sure. Was a bit of contact there.
Not sure if he'll hand that back or if he's going to say, you know what, I'm the admin, I'm going to deal with it. And he shoots off into the distance. He is about half a second up at the moment. We've got
pictures are frozen on both screens. Are they back?
We're back. Oh, heart was in my mouth for a second there,
There's a server glitch there, perhaps. I don't know if it was just on our side. Dane Warren, though, is still in second place and Kurt Stenberg in first.
We've got Mark Needham in the chat saying bar red card. I'm assuming that was for Kurt Stenberg. And we've got EB Games Racing. I wonder if they're actually affiliated with EB Games. If so, are you having a sale at the moment? Saying what a battle. Absolutely. This is an incredible battle. This is one of the best ones we've seen so far this season. And Nathan Higginson just saying froze here too as he's spectating in the server. So it must have been a bit of a server glitch. But we are back now, and apologies to the rest of our runners.
I was about to say that.
Third through 10th for getting absolutely no screen time.
Yeah.
But this battle is just too tantalising to look away from.
Well, Dane Warren has tried to reclaim the lead. Kurt Stenberg doesn't quite hold on to the outside like he did in previous laps and wasn't able to get up the inside. He's pushing Dane Warren through turn 3. Unbelievable stuff there. He tries to go around there. Again, defensive line from Dane. A bit of a bump there. There was no run, just bump.
There was no run, just bump. So Kurt Stenberg that time not managing to take advantage of a little bit of a bump. Dane Warren going very defensive coming down into turn 6. Kurt Stenberg tries to get a wider line around the outside. Doesn't look like it's worked out for him. He's fallen off the back a little bit here, about 0.3 of a second now as they come down towards the hairpin. Will Kurt Stenberg be able to make a move here as well? Dane Warren goes very defensive yet again. You're right, Stairs, I reckon. Dane Warren has really been rattled by Kurt Stenberg's pace.
Well, it's not often we say those words. Dane Warren usually has quite a few tenths of a second in hand. Now, we see the cog light up for Kurt Stenberg. He may well dive into the pits. The question is, does Dane dive into the pits as well? This is a very, very crucial moment in this race.
Yep, a undercut on some fresh tyres could be very, very vital here. Doesn't look like he's coming in this lap, Kurt Stenberg. His stick's hanging onto the back of Dane Warren as they come down to start the 8th lap. We are at exact halfway part of the track. The race. Yep, last time out they would have been needing to pit right now. Their tyres would have been exploding. Kurt down the outside at turn 2. Dane very defensive yet again. Kurt tries to swap it up the inside, but Dane covers off the apex well. We've got another little freeze here, but we're back.
It's back.
That might be on our end. It might be an internet glitch, but we're all good. Looks like there was a lot of contact to me. Very close racing, says Mr. DBG. Absolutely a lot of contact we saw. And they are all over each other at the moment.
Now there is a potential here that they might have picked up a little bit of damage, and if that is something that they don't switch off in the pit menu, it'll repair it automatically, and that could cost them this race.
Yeah, it's quite a big time difference between just switching your tyres and fuel and putting in some damage repair as well.
Dane Warren's just defending fresh air there. That's Giancarlo Fisichella in Suzuka 2005, if anyone remembers that race, where Kimi Räikkönen was about half a kilometre back and Fisichella decided to defend. Not quite that much, but it's unlike Dane Warren to feel that he needs to cover off the move from the competitor behind. That's not something we see very often.
In the pits.
Oh! He's faked him! He's faked him! Kurt Stenberg, I think he was in anyway, but Dane Warren, wow! He was coming in the pits and then he decided not to.
That is some mind games.
That is some mind games.
Oh, Zach Baker, I think we saw in the background there just coming out of the pits. So the pit stops have started.
Yeah.
While we haven't been paying attention to the rest of the field, do apologise again, but this front-line battle has been absolutely tantalising to watch. So now the undercut of one lap, will that be a big difference for Kurt Stenberg? It's almost like it was real-life racing, and Dane Warren's pit lane engineer was in his ear saying, do what he doesn't do, do what he doesn't do. And at the very last second, he dove out of the pit lane.
He's just coming out of the pits now. So we've also seen Thomas McMillan, Sean Allen, and Alex Cattle make their pit stops on this lap. Brody Steen has stayed out. Looks like RSM Latino has as well. So a bit of a split strategy from some of these guys.
I've just got the biggest grin on my face right now, Stairs, because holy crap. EB Games Racing in the chat are saying, what a duke. And Nathan Higginson saying, Jesus Christ, I can only agree.
Thomas Millen.
Thomas Millen, okay. For some reason, I assumed that was Dane Warren because we've seen him get quite a few penalties this season. And I was thinking, oh God, don't do this to us. But he hasn't. He's coming onto the start-finish straight now. Will he come into the pits this lap, or is he going to continue on? Looks like
he's got no one to dupe this time.
He's got no one to try to fake out. And as long as he can get it slowed down before the line.
Well, we have seen him get penalties for speeding in the pit lane when he's trying to recover positions. So he's not really used to having the pressure of having to have a quick in and out lap. So let's hope he got it down to the line, because I want to see how this one plays out.
Kurt's just coming through turn 8 now. As you can, well, we can't see him there because the camera lingers on that empty corner. He's just now coming into the last sequence of corners. Dane Warren's just started moving on our other screen.
Yep.
Kurt just exiting the last corner.
So it's going to be one lap pressure tyres for Dane Warren until the end of the race. And Kurt Stenberg coming down the start-finish straight now.
Oh, this is going to be close.
Dane Warren only just passing the cones now. Here's Kurt. Here's Dane.
I'm just waiting for him to appear in the foreground.
There he is. Dane Warren is ahead. But Kurt Stenberg is going to have fresher tyres for the first few corners. This is going to be mighty interesting indeed.
Oh, no.
Bowls it a little bit wide down at turn 2. So Kurt's got to get this job done really quickly while Dane's tyres are still cold.
Yep, while he's still bringing them up to temperature, Kurt's got to be all over the back of him. I reckon that the second that Kurt Stenberg wasn't on the back of him through that in-lap,
he's caught up.
Dane Warren was able to punch in a hot lap. That's why he's managed to hold on to that lead. But Kurt Stenberg, you can just see so much more grip coming through turn 5. And they come on down towards turn 6. Kurt looking for the inside, just singing him a little bit of a dummy. And then into the back of him a little bit, bump drafting him through turn 6.
Yeah, I think now Dane Warren's had a chance to get his brakes and tyres up to temperature, so he may well have this in hand right now. Although having said that, if anyone watched the first half of this race, they might be tempted to disagree with me there.
Yeah, it was nuts to butts. If you're joining us now, you missed an absolute cracking first half of the race. So once we're done, go back and watch that for absolute sure. Kurt Stenberg right on the back of Dane Warren coming through the last corner. Very different lines. Kurt Stenberg almost pimp maneuvering him through the last corner, and they're side by side. A little bit of a jink for Kurt Stenberg. He's going to have to duck back in behind Dane Warren, I think, and he does. Ooh. Leaves a cigarette paper's width. And there's going to be no way through at turn 1, I wouldn't think, but he's going for the inside.
He has managed to get the inside. There's going to be a little bit of contact here. Oh. Very easy for Kurt to spin Dane Warren, but they managed not to do so. This is absolutely terrific driving from both. And where has this pace come from Kurt Stenberg? He was barely on the podium. I don't think he was on the podium last round.
No, he wasn't. He was fourth and fifth, I reckon. Their lap times are pretty much...
Oh! Kurt's front!
No!
There he goes! Oh, no! Unfortunate. Just as you were looking away, Madbird, how did that happen? We were both looking at records, and Kurt Stenberg has thrown it away. How unfortunate.
Oh no, I was just looking to see what their comparative lap times were. They were very close for the record, and just an absolute tank slapper coming out of turn 3. Got an absolute swapper on and wasn't able to save it. And that is absolutely, that's gut-wrenching for both of us.
Absolutely.
For Kurt Stenberg and us, the viewing public. My goodness.
Well, we've been treated to an absolute masterclass of wheel-to-wheel action from these two for the first 11 laps of this race, so we can hardly be too disappointed. But nonetheless, we always want more, don't we?
We do. Anyone in the chat, make sure you drop some Fs as has become tradition over at Automobilista. Oh, Apex
Apex Rear Wing. Yes.
When something horrible happens, and we've just seen something horrible happen. Although he's not too far behind, really, considering.
I reckon Dane's lifted out of.
I reckon Dane Warren's slowed down.
He wants a race to the end here.
Oh, yeah, I was when we were talking about them having a bit of a bump and run, or Kurt Stenberg having a bit of a bump and run. I was about to say they're probably sitting in the same Discord server with each other, having an absolute ball, and screaming at each other and laughing the entire way because they're those sort of guys. And as they go through turn 2, Kurt Stenberg is now back within half a second of Dane Warren. Unless
I think Dane must have lifted out of it.
We don't have a safety car, do we?
There's no flashing lights.
No, but
having said that, Sean Allen and Brody
everyone else is
might
checking up.
We might have to look at these lap times because
no, they are not going at race pace.
Dane Warren's done a 37.6.
Yeah, this maybe
that was his outlap.
But yeah, as you say, there's no flashing lights.
I'll wait to see what happens when they cross the line. We'll get an indicator of their pace, but it doesn't sound particularly normal.
Blair Warren, the watchful father in the chat, just saying, did Dane just slow down?
Just looking, his fastest lap's at 27.2, so at his peak, I mean, it's not as fast as he was last week, but it's there or thereabouts, within 5/10 or so.
Even just looking at him, you can tell that they're not going, even with this stuttering, and we do apologise again. It's because
we thought we'd fixed it.
It's just because we've got more cars on screen, I think. Again, Automobilista are sure, I think, more than ours. But you can just tell they're not really going flat chat, I would think.
Could someone tell them to spread out a bit?
We've got a lot of Fs in the chat, so thank you very much. And Loglin Horan saying this is back on.
29.1, so he has slowed down.
Yeah.
But not to the point where I would expect to see Sean Allen as close as that.
Yeah, and I mean, I saw Sean Allen wasn't too far behind when Kurt Stenberg recovered to the track. But it was more than that. It was a good 5 seconds or so. Dane wants a race, says Blair Warren.
Yeah,
I wonder if he's if he's had a chat or if that's an assumption like ours is. Because again, this just seems bizarre. We've got 3 laps left.
I'm just surprised how close everyone else is. I thought they had cleared off and were in a class of their own. But
in fairness, how much attention were we paying?
Exactly. Sean Allen actually made his way back up to 3rd, which really escaped our attention. He was.
That would have been fantastic to watch. Oh well.
Can anyone really blame us?
No. I wouldn't have been able to tear my eyes away from this lead battle. And it looks like Dane Warren's been charitable enough to let the door hang ajar, but then
Kurt
hasn't really opened it fully because Kurt just does not seem to have the pace to catch up to him. He's now 2.3 seconds behind.
Well, Kurt lost a second to Sean Allen in the middle sector alone.
Maybe he's got some damage. He did clap that wall pretty heavily.
His tyres might be a bit overheated.
Tyres could be. You can see him. He's getting a little bit crabby coming through that last corner. And Sean Allen, you're right, is right behind him. Only half a second between the two. Dane Warren, now that he's free of the pressure of Kurt Stenberg, has set about his regular antics of setting fast lap times. Kurt Stenberg very wide there on turn 1. I reckon you might be right. His tyres might have cried enough. And but they were fresh. They were only a lap and a half old.
He pitted 1 lap earlier than Dane did, but they went further. Trying to remember what lap it was exactly, but they went further in the first stint than they were planning to go on the second stint. Unless he only changed 2 tyres, which they only had to change 2 of the 4 tyres. So maybe he's done that. And
maybe he hasn't changed his rears. Maybe he accidentally changed his fronts and not his rears.
Well, look at this. Sean Allen is making a race of this. He's gone down the inside and taken second place away from Kurt Stenberg. Kurt Stenberg, I wonder if he's got anything left to fight that with.
It doesn't look like it. You can see there's already a few car lengths between them. He tries to take a wider line through the hairpin to put pressure on Sean Allen, but he isn't able to. It goes very wide on the exit, but yeah, it just seems to have completely fallen away. So he's given us an absolute titanic scrap for the first half of the race, and then a head scratcher for the second.
How brightly the stars shine and how quickly they die.
A little bit bleak. Anyway, Kurt Stenberg's still sitting in a podium position, so he's not 100% dead yet. Dane Warren just sets another fastest lap of the race, so that pressure that Kurt Stenberg was putting on him was absolutely elite, and it was holding him back from reaching his true pace, as we're now seeing. Kurt Stenberg down in 3rd place with race on Sean Allen thanking his lucky stars, even if they are dead, that he's now back up into a good 2nd place finish.
Yes, so Thomas Macmillan has not finished this race.
No,
DNF'd.
we missed that.
That was quite a... it was 3 laps ago. He finished... well, he was out of this race on lap 12, so no points for Thomas Macmillan, which means that Zach Baker is going to be last, but he'll still pick up a decent haul of points in 9th place.
Lachlan Horan just saying, I reckon he's got damage. He tank slapped that fence pretty hard, so...
Yeah, it could be it.
It looks like it's definitely crabbing a bit coming through some of the corners, but...
So Dane Warren appeared to slow up to make a bit of a race of it, but then he had to clear off again, which he has done now.
Because he was putting himself in risk of Sean Allen.
So he wanted to race Kurt, just not Sean.
Yeah, he's like, it's, you know, I was trying to think of a no Barts joke, but then I realised that Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg are in fact different names. Dane Warren coming to start the last lap of this race. I don't know what's with me and getting the words lap and race confused tonight, but I do apologise to all of our viewers.
So it's been, well, one of the strangest races from Dane Warren's point of view that we've seen. I think, well, like us, he just wanted to see a race, and by seeing a race, I mean participate in a race, which he has been doing throughout the course of this year. But in terms of wheel to wheel, that's probably the highlight from Dane Warren's point of view.
Yeah, he's sort of been he's sort of just cleared off through most of the races, bar a couple of first couple of laps where he's had to make an overtake and then clear off. This was the first time we've seen him sort of consecutively under pressure and having to battle for his lead the entire race, or at least the first 2/3 of the race. But he's turned the wick right up in recent laps. He did a 26.698, which has lowered the bar from the race record that we saw set a few weeks ago by him, which is a 26.764. So that's gone down by another half of a 1/10 of a second. It's only what you'd expect from Dane Warren as he comes through turns 9 and now 10, and then sweeps out and through 11 to start the final. To start the start-finish straight for the final time.
That's it.
As he dips some tyres in the grass, just you know, gotta make it a little bit exciting. And he crosses the line with a, in the end, quite dominant win, but that does not tell the story. Sean Allen comes home in 2nd place, so a very handy haul of points for him. And Kurt Stenberg, who put on an absolute show, has come home in 3rd place with some damage. Brody Steen rounds out the 2nd row with a very solid finish, and Colin Warwick in 5th. David Nedich ends up coming home in 6th place, and in the background there you can see Alex Cattle and RSM Latino battling to the line. Alex Cattle's going to take out the win in that particular battle. RSM Latino in 8th, and Zach Baker's going to come home plumb last in 9th place with Thomas Macmillan a DNF.
So we didn't see what happened to Thomas Macmillan, and Dane Warren is going to... Well, he's almost at race pace still, though, as I say that. He has a little bit of a fun wobble. I was going to say he's going to calmly come back into the pits, but he's proved me wrong almost as soon as I said that.
So putting on a bit of a show. Mr. DBG saying, good race, was very entertaining. Well done, top 10.
Yeah, well, top 10 was the only 10. Well done to Thomas Macmillan, finishing inside the top 10.
Well done, the 10. As Dane Warren makes his Commodore more like one of the Drift Series Commodores. Beautiful!
That was gorgeous.
In AMS, coming through the final couple of corners. That is, okay. Some of that drift was the game glitching.
That's it.
But what an absolutely cracking first race, Des.
Yeah, I was a bit worried when I saw there was only 10 people tonight, that we might be in for a long one. We still have 2 races to go, but if the first race is any indication, then it should be an absolute crack.
Yeah, bring that back again, please, Kurt Stenberg and Dane Warren. Kurt, put some extra pressure on it, please, and don't skimp on the bump and run. That was hugely entertaining, if caused a little bit of controversy, but we've still got 2 races to go, Stairs.
Absolutely, and well done, of course, to Sean Allen for
capitalising.
Well, capitalising. I mean, yeah,
he still had to be there, and he dropped to last.
That's what I mean. His recovery effort, which we didn't see much of, was the untold story of that race.
I'm sure if you go back and watch through the first half of the broadcast, you'll see his name occasionally changing positions in the top left corner. That's about the best you're going to do, I'm afraid, because we just could not look away from that lead battle.
We were mesmerised.
We were absolutely mesmerised, just like the System of a Down album.
Not familiar, really.
No,
I wasn't really a huge
No, I wasn't a big...
fan.
I've heard, like, you know, the normal ones that everyone's heard, but yeah.
A lot of these guys are a fair bit younger than us, so they might not have...
Yeah, call out in the chat if you've heard of System of a Down. If not, please don't. I don't want to age myself.
You just did. I don't mind.
Well,
personally.
you're 30 before me anyway.
Yep. Hurry up and get it over with. Like ripping off a band-aid.
Oh.
I never felt like I was in my 20s anyway.
No, you've always sort of been an old man in a young man's body. That sounded a lot worse than I meant it to. Lovely lad.
Lovely jubbly.
Lovely jubblies. Oh, good Lord in heaven.
Well, let's get qualifying underway, shall we?
Absolutely. So another qualifying session, Stairs?
Yeah, let's have one with a side order of fast laps. Actually, I want that for the main course.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's make that the main, and then let's make the side. Let's make the second course Thomas McMillan crashing out, because it's the sort of thing that you know is coming, but you don't really look forward to it.
I'm excitedly opening my antibacterial wet wipe as we speak for the main course.
Oh, because
sat down at the
yes.
restaurant.
Excellent,
Japanese
restaurant. Yeah, I was about to say we're obviously in Japan.
Well,
We've got the warm
I think
towel.
the rest of the world, I think, are cottoning onto that.
It's incredible.
Apart from the US.
Who knew that washing your hands before you eat was a good thing? Japan, apparently.
Yeah.
So we are here. We've got 10 minutes to run in this qualifying session. Time has just started ticking down.
No one out, as far as I can tell,
No.
at the moment.
Everyone just still just processing that first race, thinking, what the heck happened?
I might be having a quick blue break, which I personally have neglected to do.
Yes. When we were waffling a little bit between the end of the race and this qualifying session, I was wondering if we were going to throw it all break, and then we didn't. So
well,
here we are.
We'll get one done. It's only 10 minutes.
I'm the one that's drunk most of a litre of water during that first race.
We're watching Brody Steen now making his way out, but he's at the end of a queue that is led by Thomas McMillan. So
once again,
he's eager to get to the front of the line.
Yeah, but apparently, judging by his pace, not quite as eager to get to the front of the grid.
Well,
that was probably
I'm sure he wants to.
That was probably a little bit harsh.
Ever since his win in Pukekohe, it's just fallen apart.
Which, to be fair, was an absolute cracking win and a fantastic battle.
That was one of my favourite races.
That's got to be up there. That the first race, or that first half of the first race, just then has got to be up there as competition to that, because that was a ding dong battle. I don't think I've seen cars going side by side that much so far this series, this year or last year.
Well, certainly this year, this race tonight has given that a little bit of a run for its money. Not quite. This was Thomas McMillan, Sean Allen battle was about 20 laps of that, but this was a close second.
Well, let's hope that they can turn it up for race 2 and keep the battle going the entire time. And Kurt, don't crash this time. Maybe change the rear tyres. Lewis Kugeley in the chat.
Oh, here we go.
Lewis Kugeley in the chat saying McMill needs to get good. Yeah. You know what I need is $10.
Well, $10.07 if you include the interest.
Yeah. What if you do it by CPI? $10
It's a bit more.
11 cents. Oh. So, you know, I'm going to keep counting that, Lewis
Well,
Kugeley.
we live in where CPI is higher than interest rates.
Well, I'm not going to keep counting it. I'm going to have Stairs continue counting the interest, and he will continue to keep me informed, and you will one day pay up, my friend.
In case you've got any idea, well, in case you've got no idea what we're talking about, there was a feature about the various ways that interest could be applied to the principal amount of $10. Since it hasn't been paid yet. I'm merely stirring the shit pot.
The what pot, sorry?
I've done that again. Thomas McMillan, first qualifying lap. Interest rates are at an all-time low, so keep $10 for a while. That's probably a good point, actually. He's not going to accrue much.
No, he's accrued 7 cents in the last year, so, you know, if he hangs on to it for another 10 years, then he will accrue another 70 cents.
Yeah, which to be fair, if you paid up the $10 and then you chucked it on Qantas shares, you would have lost a fair chunk of money.
Yeah, so I mean, thank you, Lewis, for saving me that money, because I obviously would have invested that $10 directly into Qantas shares.
You're a close personal friend of Alan Joyce, aren't you?
I love him. On you, Alan. What have you done with the national airline? Anyway.
Well, it's not his fault.
No, it's not his fault. Thomas McMillan, the pathfinder for this particular session, getting very leery there, going through turn 9.
Dane Warren's on a fast one.
Of course. So he's decided that a warm-up lap is for wusses this time around, and he's decided to go just straight for the jugular. Thomas McMillan about to cross the line for his hot lap, and about the same pace that he did last time around, a 1:28.1, and Dane Warren comes through to go second again, about a second down.
I reckon he backs off in the final sector of his first flying lap, Dane.
It's like he
was purple through the first and second sector.
It's like he doesn't want to like spoil the show. He wants to wait a little bit before he puts in his banker, but then he goes, I better just do it, and so he does it on his second lap.
Maybe it's just to let us know that he's out there. He sets a lap, like, oh, what's wrong with him? Let's cut to him, and then we see his good lap.
We see the purple flashing up on our screens and go, oh my goodness, we need a look. And as you can see, he's now 0.6 of a second up on Colin Warwick's time, because Colin Warwick has usurped Thomas McMillan at the top.
Brody Stem third.
Kurt Stenberg, and yet they're all slow on their first lap. Maybe it's because of the night conditions. The track's cooler. They need more time to get their tyres up to temperature.
It's a good theory. Could be.
It's a good theory. Who knows if it's correct? I don't even know if Automobilista...
there is a bit of a temperature element to it, but it does depend. I think this is a modded track, modded to look night, so I'm not sure if they're actually running it in what the session would call night. In fact, yeah, I don't think it is. It's the session time is 2 p.m.
Sean Allen goes top with a 27.8.
I don't think the temperature would actually be simulated as being that low.
So reckons it's 2 p.m.
Yeah, well, that's what it says.
Total eclipse of the sun at 2 p.m. Interesting.
So Dane Warren, let's see what he can do. It is a 26.5. Another benchmark has been moved by Dane Warren. That is a game, set, and match lap.
Absolutely destroy. He's not going to continue that hot.
No,
lap,
I think that'll be his in lap now.
Sean Allen, yeah, and Sean Allen's lap wasn't a slouch, but 1.3 seconds down.
The lap itself wasn't a slouch.
The lap itself wasn't a slouch, and neither was Sean Allen, but you can just see how much faster Dane Warren is. So Kurt Stenberg, just keeping Dane Warren honest for so long in that first race, has just pushed into even fresher perspective.
Well, Kurt Stenberg's nowhere at the moment. 4 seconds off the pace, and also sat in the pit lane.
Yeah, I wonder if something's happened that has drawn his attention. Maybe he's had to go get donuts for someone. I think that was a Lewis wedding.
It was a Lewis wedding. Lewis wedding was signed up for this year.
Well, where the bloody hell is he?
We haven't seen him at all, so I'm very disappointed in him.
He's competed in more races at ARW for a season that he wasn't signed up for.
I think Sean Allen's coming into the pits.
That was a aborted lap. Wasn't particularly quick.
We see a lot of aborted laps in the middle of these qualifying sessions because it's sometimes tricky to know who is planning on going on with a lap. Zach Baker is going on with his lap. Let's see what he can do. Currently sat up in 6th place and coming to the line. It's not fast.
No.
He stays 6th.
Yep, about 0.5 of a second down on his personal best time.
Colin Warwick coming out of the pits. Currently 3rd. Good qualifying session for him so far.
Much better than last time. He started the last race in 7th and finished in 5th, so he would be very happy if he ends up starting from 3rd.
Recovered from the broken foot that he had earlier in the year.
The broken-footed Colin Warwick, as he was known.
But I understand he's broken a finger.
Oh, of course.
So COVID restrictions, I think, were keeping him safe.
Yeah.
Now that they're out and about again,
he's causing mischief.
Playing rugby is causing harm to his body. So
is he a Victorian lad?
New South Wales.
Oh, okay.
Sydney sider.
Oh.
So they are out. Allowed out for now.
Unlike all of Melbourne, which has been a very naughty boy and has to stay indoors.
I have to think New South Wales can't be too far behind though.
No.
Well, let's see how the border closures go. Hopefully, for Sydney's sake and New South Wales in general, they can stay open.
Mm-hmm. Cross fingers. Cross fingers for every state that isn't Victoria. Well, I mean, obviously cross fingers that things improve for Victoria, but
it's wide from
they are obviously already in a whole kettle of worms.
Really hope they can get it sorted out and then we can have our Victorian rounds.
Yeah.
So Miss Winton. They always tends to put on a good show.
Yeah, I think we've said this several times, and Zach Bacon doesn't improve. We've said this before, it's not a driver's favourite, but it is very much a viewing favourite. I've always enjoyed commentating on races there. They've always been bloody exciting.
So Colin Warwick has just started a lap. We'll actually watch Thomas McMillan though, because he's a little bit further into his lap. Currently sat in 4th, so that's a bit of an improvement.
I think he had a very good start in the first race. He jumped up into 3rd place and was putting pressure on Dane Warren. Very, very, very confident line through turn 9, and then turn 11 and 10 and 11 even. That's the order that numbers go in. He comes onto the start-finish straight, shoots on down towards the line. Will he improve? He was up through the 3rd sector split. Crosses the line. He does improve, but doesn't improve his position. He's still about
1.5 seconds off.
Yeah, ran 1/10 of a second down on Colin Warwick, who is on your screens now.
Well, I think Thomas was green the last time I saw a sprint. Oh, that's it. He's spun it.
The second that you said that he was green was you sealed his fate, I reckon.
Yeah, I think I did. Here is a replay. And is that the same spot Kurt lost it?
Nah.
No, it was a little bit further on.
Speaking of Kurt.
Yeah, just got wide onto the grass. Tried to get on the power maybe a little bit too early, I think.
Kurt Stenberg is going to be starting from 9th. Unless he's on track at the moment.
I think he is. We'll try and pick up a lap from him. And he is indeed on one. And he's doing not too bad. He's about 8/10 down, which is going to put him in 2nd, actually, considering the wide gulf between the laps set by Dane Warren and Sean Allen.
We've got Lachlan Horan in the chat just saying, I'm from Victoria, nothing's improving anytime soon. Victoria wrecks everything. So a self-loathing Victorian in the chat.
I really hope they can sort it out. Because
Kurt Stenberg goes 3rd.
So good job there from Kurt Stenberg.
Sean Allen's improved, actually.
He's only 1,000th off 2nd. He'll actually be quite disappointed with that, I would think.
Oh no! Yeah, that is the difference between starting on the 1st row or the 2nd row of the grid. Sean Allen is also on another one.
Time's hit 0, but I think Kurt's going to get another lap in. I wasn't looking at it, but it looks like his time is going up.
Yeah, and he is up on his personal best, but so is Sean Allen. So this is going to be interesting to see which one of them improves, or improves the most, rather.
Kurt's up by 2/10.
They've basically got the identical fastest lap at the moment, 1,000th in it. As they come down towards, well, Sean Allen comes down towards the hairpin, so we'll get to see where he's sitting as at the exit of the hairpin.
Kurt will have about 5 seconds warning as to what the goalposts have been moved by.
Which is probably about when he comes out of that last corner, so Sean Allen up by 1/10 of a second, or just a little bit over. And Kurt, I can't quite see
he's lost a bit. He's only up by 1/4 of a tenth, so it's looking like Sean Allen at this point, unless he makes a mistake in this final corner, or Kurt can find some time. So it's all down to the run to the line. You can see Kurt in the back of the shot there. Sean Allen's going to move the goalpost. It's going to be a 27.3. Can Kurt Stenberg beat a 27.3? No. He did improve though, but it wasn't enough.
That is bloody close between those. So if we don't get a battle between Kurt Stenberg and Dane Warren in race 2, I hope we have an absolute cracking scrap between Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen. Sean Allen improving by about 5/10 of a second, I reckon, from his qualifying last time out.
It was a good qualifying session. Enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was a little bit of drama at the end. Very nice.
Yeah.
And very, very close. So Kurt Stenberg, he was maybe a little bit bored just setting a 2nd fastest lap time last qualifying session. Decided to leave it till the very last minute this time around.
Sean Allen really needed that last lap though, because otherwise Kurt's time would have been good enough to beat Sean Allen.
I can
Lots
see.
of chat coming in. Sorry to cut across you there, Madbird.
No, that's alright. Lewis Kugley saying you can stop whining about your cash. I've just subbed to the Patreon. Good job with the broadcast, boys. Alright.
Yeah, I'm happy to let that drop now.
Yeah, I reckon all is forgiven. After
It's not my money to say that about, but yeah.
Oh, you know,
that's probably preferable.
Yeah, no, I prefer that. Make sure you hang on to the Patreon for at least, well, depends how much money you're patronising, but 5 months, I guess. I've just noticed in Discord that in the race control chat we've got Colin Warwick, Dane Warren, Kurt Stenberg, and Thomas McMillan. So that'll be a very interesting chat to be in the start of the race.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. and
Sounds good.
because we did talk about that at the start of this qualifying session, so that'll give us a quick chance to reset before race 2.
All the information you want about the Automobilista Supercars Championship is now all in one place. Visit asc.rocksolidmates.com for all the official ASC content, including season calendars, results and championship points, broadcast information, rules and regulations, lap records and more. You can also get updates on our official ASC Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell notification icon to get notified whenever we go live for all championship races.
The Automobilista Supercars Championship is proudly brought to you by RSM, Rock Solid Mates, ARW, Apex Rear Wing, CW, Colin Warwick Designs, and Jinx Shifters.
Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park. Sorry about the dead air there. We thought the break was a little bit longer than that. But that doesn't matter. We're back now and we're about to get racing for race number 2. Round 7 of the Automobilista Supercars Championship.
That's right. So we had Dane Warren taking up pole once again with a very, very tight scrap for second place on the grid between Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg. So Sean Allen won that battle, only just, but he nevertheless won it. So he will be starting alongside Dane Warren, and Kurt Stenberg will be starting from 3rd. If Kurt can get the sort of start he had in the first race, he might very well still be able to take the lead.
We will see. He's been pretty good at starts this season, which is interesting because I've heard him speak quite a few times saying that he doesn't rate his starts particularly highly. But having said that, there's been quite a few times, I think Simmons Plains was another one where he got such a good start
Jesus.
that he was able to jump Dane Warren into turn 1.
Not sure who that was that just shot through between the two of them. I think it was Colin Warwick, but that was absolutely terrifying from my point of view.
I didn't even see what you're talking about.
So you would have been completely blindsided when I just screamed, "Wow!" Here we go.
Yeah, hang on, I think I've got a replay of what you're talking about. Ah, yes. This is that was the view from Colin Warwick's perspective.
Nathan Higginson just saying, "Don't think I've seen a live stream with this amount of pizzazz. Honestly, looks like a Fox feed. Loving it." I think you've done us a disservice by comparing us to Fox.
No, they do have a good. I mean, I take inspiration, and I really appreciate those comments. So thank you very much, Nathan.
Always good to hear the feedback, especially when it's positive. While we're waiting for the race to start, the warm-up session has just ticked over. Why not hop on down? Make sure you are subscribed to here, the Automobilista Supercars Championship channel. Give us a like as well. That always helps. Hop over onto the Facebook, give us a like over there, and if you really like the broadcast, consider doing what my old nemesis Lewis Kugley has just done, and subscribe to our Patreon. My new best friend, Lewis Kugley. I think I owe him $10 now. Very much appreciated, and it does take a lot of effort and time, mostly on Stair's part, to put these broadcasts together, so if you have a couple of dollars a month that you can spare, we greatly appreciate it. So, race 2. Almost ready to go, Stans.
Absolutely. Some shenanigans in the warm-up. It looks like Colin Warwick's coming into the pits. The only other man on the racetrack is actually Dane Warren. Looks like Dane's getting in some practice. Not that he particularly needs it, but he is nonetheless out there setting laps.
Maybe trying to do some practice taking very, very defensive lines, because
he's practicing his victory
drifting.
lap.
Yep. He's going the early crow. He's thinking, I've got to get these slides down for when they show me on the broadcast. And my goodness, why wouldn't we? Because that was Brenton Foley is quite good at this as well. Just doing drifting in cars that aren't really designed to be drifted in. And it's always the car control it takes can't be understated. Some good 11s is there.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
I like it.
I like it.
Like it.
I don't like it. When you turn my words about.
Oh, there's a thing that happened.
I don't like it when you vote One Nation out. unlike the entirety of decent Australia, which very much enjoyed it. So I think the warm-up session is waiting for Dane Warren to finish this lap. So
I think it might be.
So we're going to be treated to the rest of this all the way down to the line. I imagine he's listening, and he's going to.
Who, Dane?
Yeah, I reckon he's going to speed his way down into the pit lane. That if he pulled that up in time, he only just did. And yeah, the session definitely was waiting because it ticked over to red just as he hit the pit entry. So appreciate that, Dane, keeping us entertained while it ran out. Lachlan Horan just saying, you fellas do a ripe job in booth. Wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you very much, Lachlan. Greatly appreciate, as always.
Oh, I was going to let you do the...
I did it the first time, didn't I?
Oh, did you? Oh, well, sorry. This is the racetrack. 16 laps, 60 kilometres. And the tyre strategy, well, we were expecting some variation, but, well, we did get a bit of variation between...
In fairness, we didn't get to see too much of the rest of the field.
and Dane Warren, but that jink into the pit lane from Dane Warren and then immediately jumping out, that was my highlight. That was
the chef's kiss.
That was the chef's kiss. So previous winners, well, this was before tonight, Dane Warren, Sean Allen and Dane Warren. Dane Warren has added to that list, 3 wins out of 4, and we're about to have a 5th race in a row at this racetrack.
We are, and you'd think we'd be getting bored of it, but that last race was an absolute cracker, so let's hope we can provide once again. It's Dano, 35, saying, yeah, you give us a good laugh, fellas. Thank you very much.
We do try.
We try our level best to make both yourselves and us laugh. Okay. Sorry, I'm distracted by looking at our other...
That's not live.
It's not live. We're all good. Dane Warren is off on his warm-up lap. Flashing the lights for us. So he takes pole position for the 5th race in a row. Probably more than that, but the 5th race here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Yep, and Sean Allen in behind him in 2nd place, occupies the front row once again. Actually, having said that, once again, this is the first time he's done it in Sydney Motorsport Park, because he didn't qualify particularly well last week, or last round, which is about 3 or 4
You've done
weeks
what
ago.
I've been doing.
Yes, I've caught the disease from you. Kurt Stenberg, who got a great start in race 1, he'll start a little bit further back in 3rd place off row 2 with his admin colleague in Colin Warwick alongside him. Thomas McMillan, don't know what he's doing there. A good qualifying session for him, and I'm up in 5th. Let's hope he can finish tonight. And then Brody Steen for Race on Oz in that Mustang there in 6th place. Very, very close, it has to be said, to the back of that ZB Commodore driven by Thomas McMillan. And then the 2 ZB guys, David Nenadich out qualifying his teammate Zach Baker. Those 2 will occupy the 4th row of the grid, ahead of RSM Latino, Super 2 Championship leader. I'll keep saying that till it ceases to be true. And then Alex Cattle in 10th place in the Race on Oz satellite car. And looks like it's slightly out of position. RSM Latino is actually supposed to be ahead of Alex Cattle there, but...
I'm sure they'll get it sorted out before the line.
Exactly. Well, it doesn't necessarily matter, because they're going to be on the grid next to each other, and they don't actually have a staggered grid in supercars. It's side by side, as you say.
Yeah, so it's sort of like, as long as you're on the row ahead, it doesn't really matter if you're on the left or right. I guess you get a preferential run into the first corner, but I'd argue the outside line is actually better here, because you can take a much more of a swing into the first corner. Whereas if you're on the inside, you've got to be a little bit tighter to the apex, which affects your top speed. So see some good 11s there laid down on their warm-up starts. And love that razor sign directly in the middle of our wonderful shot.
Yep. So we'll just ignore that. I was trying to get the cursor out of the way, but it has...
Oh, and we're off. So Dane Warren with a decent start, but Sean Allen actually with an even better start. He's up alongside and just slightly ahead coming into turn 1. Is he going to get a decent run around the outside? No, by the looks of it, Dane Warren's managed to hold onto that lead. And Colin Warwick getting very punchy in 3rd place, looking to come down at turn 1. Looks like we had Brody Steen. Yeah, off in the background, and he's well and truly off. So he's had the luck of Sean Allen this time around. Sean Allen, meanwhile, still battling for that first place.
Just catching a replay of what happened to Brody Steen again. Sorry about these stutters. We're
Oh.
trying to endeavour to get this fixed for next week, but we are having some issues with the, well, next week,
lights.
next round. It's the lights, I think, that are causing
Looks like he got
computers to
squeezed
get overloaded.
by the ZB. I'm not sure which ZB that was. Zach Baker, maybe.
So all to do for Brody Steen. Meanwhile, his teammate is pressurising Dane Warren for the lead of the race.
He is. So he hasn't fallen away. He's 0.2 of a second behind him as they come down and into turn 8. Dane Warren is getting very familiar with the inside line here at the hairpin. Sean Allen gives him a nice little bump as they come into it. Kurt Stenberg is looking to cut up the inside of Colin Warwick as they come out of the hairpin, but fails to do so.
So Dane Warren leads the way. Sean Allen in second. Colin Warwick in third. So he got the jump on Kurt Stenberg off the start. Thomas McMillan started in fifth. And then Zach Baker got ahead of his teammate in David Nenadic. So a lot of the guys behind on the grid managed to get around the outside, get that position on the guys they were battling. As Dane Warren completes the first lap with a 0.2 of a second advantage.
Yeah, so Sean Allen still on the back of him. He's not falling away, and this is a very turns 1 and 2. You can stick very close to the car ahead, as we're seeing here. The top 4 very close together still.
Ooh, and Dane
And
Warren a little bit
with the-
wide there as you watch this slideshow of the first couple of laps of the race. We will eventually get some cleaner pictures as the cars start to spread out a little bit here, Madbird.
Yeah, it's just the nature of the beast. Unfortunately, Automobilista doesn't handle shadows particularly well, and when you run it through a stream in addition to that, it just sort of compounds the issue. So apologies again, but you can still make out what's happening, and you've got our voices to massage the information to you regardless.
Oh, there we go. I might have fixed it.
Oh.
Bear with us.
Lovely. So Dane Warren
I hope.
in the lead, coming down and into turn 8 again. Very, very... Look at these three. They're almost bumper to
not
bumper
quite.
as they come through the exit of the hairpin. Kurt Stenberg still behind Colin Warwick, who's doing a fantastic job of keeping his co-commentator behind as they come through the last corner. Sean Allen looking to get a run on Dane Warren once again. Oh, but he has a bit of
a bit of a wiggle there.
Yeah, and he's lost a lot of time. Now under pressure from Colin Warwick, who's right behind him. Thomas McMillan flashing the lights in the background. And they're almost going to be side by side coming through the turn 1. Sean Allen manages to cut across the front of Colin Warwick and take that second position emphatically. But Kurt Stenberg now looking for the inside at the hairpin. That is a dive and a half, although Colin Warwick very, very deep. And Thomas McMillan takes full advantage to slip himself up into 4th place.
It's a shame for Colin Warwick there. And Kurt Stenberg onto the podium.
Sean Allen putting... I don't know if Dane Warren... You didn't hear it, but my commentator farted. Dane Warren just seems to be...
Thanks for sharing.
That's all right. You know, I've got to humiliate you at some stage. I don't know if Dane Warren is just really keen for a race tonight and he's just lifting out a little bit, or if the pressure of the guys right behind him is really getting to him that much, because he seems to just be not able to break away like he would on other races.
Yeah, no, I think it's the former rather than the latter. Definitely think that he's trying to make a show of it, considering that we're a little bit down on numbers tonight than what we normally see. And we are appreciative of him for that. As we saw his brother Ethan last time out in Sydney. Unfortunately, Ethan Warren not with us tonight.
Sean Allen almost getting bump drafted. Now I think he is getting bump drafted by Kurt Stenberg down the start-finish straight. Kurt looking like he wants to duck to the inside, but that's always going to end in tears. Although we saw it happen a couple of times in the first race and it was alright, so potentially not, but doesn't manage to get the job done here. Might have a dive down and into the hairpin as Dane Warren slows right down. Kurt Stenberg might be able to slip up the inside. He has a look, but Sean Allen covers it off and they continue on as they were.
Yeah, so Dane Warren's almost backing Sean Allen into Kurt Stenberg here. This is the same three that we saw occupy the podium in race 1, but it was
in the same order.
A completely different tale in terms of their journey to get there for Sean Allen, and Kurt Stenberg coming from the rear. And Dane Warren, well, he led Dane Warren for a number of laps before eventually the pit stops interrupted that. And Dane Warren was was
Kurt Stenberg ended
the
up in
beneficiary, the beneficiary of Kurt Stenberg spinning early on. But here is Sean Allen trying to drive around the outside. It's a bit tricky to tell.
Not really going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you've got to do something different because Dane Warren goes for the defensive line through turn 8 every single time. So Sean was thinking, well, maybe if I do this, then that'll work, but it hasn't. But he may get a decent run coming through the last corner. We've got some nice smooth helicopter shot there. Or now just track camera shot, but regardless, still smooth. So cross fingers that continues. And we've got them still line astern going through turn 1. No advantage to any of them. Dane Warren dips the tyre in the grass but manages to hold onto it. And we're back to slideshow, so do apologise, but again, I think it's just the nature of the beast. So Sean Allen still trying to put pressure on Dane Warren, and Kurt Stenberg is wanting to not finish in 3rd place this race, please.
Well, he's got a good chance of a win if the two in front of him have each other off.
Which they're getting pretty close on some parts of the racetrack. They are both very good drivers, Sean Allen especially. We haven't really seen too much, apart from last race, we haven't seen too much side-by-side battling from Dane Warren to be able to judge how good his racecraft is, apart from his just out-and-out speed.
Didn't see anything wrong with it in race 1.
Seemed alright. Kurt Stenberg, if anything, was the one that did a couple of questionable acts. As Thomas McMillan and Colin Warwick are having a bit of a scrap there for 4th place.
Yeah, we might need to see what's going on there.
And again, just they're almost equidistant going through the last corner of those top 3. Thomas McMillan here currently in 4th place after that accident from, or that very deep turn 2 from Colin Warwick. He's just defending as much as he can. Sean Allen sets the fastest lap of the race.
In between a sandwich of 2 other cars. That's not something that you say very often, I think. I swear Kurt Stenberg was going to dive down the inside of 2 there. Faked to the inside, but then thought better of it, I think. Dane Warren's a little bit wide through 2, but it always give you the inside for 3, that line, so it's not a disadvantage in this instance.
Yeah, I know they have, but it's almost as if the gaps have not changed between the 3 of them for the last several laps. As obviously you can see, they are changing corner by corner, but regardless, Sean Allen is still not able to put his race on Oz car ahead of Dane Warren's, and Kurt Stenberg is doing his level best to put that Trans-Tasman Racing ahead of the race on Oz guy.
Mick Racing 16 giving us a bit of a reality check. Everyone's saying how professional you boys are, and you don't even know who's going to explain the track.
Oh, got to keep that ego in check. Thanks very much, Mick.
Well,
appreciate it.
Maybe the graphics are. We spend a bit more time doing the graphics than we do who's going to say what. But we like to keep it slightly jocular in this instance. You know, it's no fun if everyone's like, all right, well, the race has started, and it's Dane Warren in the lead.
Yeah, we don't want a booth full of Paul DeRestas. Kurt Stenberg, best opportunity he's had for quite a long time, trying to go for the inside at turn 1. That didn't end up coming off, but he's going to have a good run through turn 1. He might be able to go for the inside at the hairpin, and he actually is not close enough.
Go!
Oh, that's mighty close though.
Sean Allen's mighty lucky he went a little bit deeper that time around than he might have done, or a little bit deeper than Dane Warren did, because Sean Allen, Kurt Stenberg was very, very close. He's going down the inside. He thought better of that. They're letting Dane get away a little bit here. We've lost our live timing at the moment, so unfortunately I can't tell you what the fastest lap of the race is at this stage. We'll try and get that one
What's
back.
happened to Kurt? Okay, I thought his headlights disappeared for a moment. I think he went very far to the outside of the track, and I lost track of him. He's lost quite a bit of time, actually.
Yeah, let's catch a replay of what happened to Kurt Stenberg there.
Coming out of turn 5. Here it is.
Oh. He lost traction on that curve by the looks of it.
Managed to very well caught, actually, by Kurt Stenberg to only lose that amount of time.
Bizarre.
Yes. But he has, as you can see, he's about 1.5 seconds down now on Sean Allen, and Sean Allen himself has lost out a bit to Dane Warren ahead. Now half a second between positions 1 and 2. Turns 1 and 2 are probably about half a second between each other, actually, or maybe a little bit more. Let's count.
Ooh, that's wide from Sean.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be more than half a second between them there.
Yeah, it's
Dane
doubled.
Warren went very deep on the turn 1 as well, got a little bit of grass.
Yeah, but he lost less time than Sean Allen did in the procedure, and that's all put Kurt Stenberg closer to the back of Sean Allen in this instance. Oh, on the other screen we've got Thomas McMillan in the fence.
Now is he
and out?
I was about to ask, is he going to recover back to the track, or is he going to immediately DNF? He's gone with the ladder, so it's incredible. Like any other race, Lewis Kugley would not have lost that bet.
Right.
But the one race that he did bet that Thomas McMillan would not finish on the podium, he in fact proved him wrong. So maybe Thomas McMillan needs that impetus. He needs a little bit of pressure riding on him in order to pull out decent positions, like someone he doesn't know being owed $10.
Don't think he was aware of that bet when it was happening. It's become a major feature of this year.
But for us, I'm not sure if anybody else, including Lewis Kugley or Thomas McMillan, actually really care that much about it. Mick Racing 16 in the chat just saying, roasted, pulled, arrested, damn, sad but true.
Yeah, I wish they would. Oh, Sean Allen's in the pits. We've got
it looked like
strategy is happening.
I reckon Dane Warren just did the same thing again. It was less dramatic this time around, but I am pretty sure I saw him copping some grass as he ducked out of the pit entry.
Yep. He did. We're going to catch a replay of it.
As we've got Kurt Stenberg and Sean Allen in the pits. There he goes.
Yep.
That one was. I think that might have just been a little callback.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't the same scenario, because when it happened in race 1, Kurt Stenberg was right up the back of Dane Warren's ass, and this time they had enough time to react. They decided to go in anyway.
Sean Allen still in the lead as they come out of the pits, but as you can see, that gap has lessened somewhat. Looked like Kurt Stenberg was a little bit late there getting off the pit limiter.
Was a bit strange, wasn't it?
He's lost quite a bit of time
because he was right up behind him before that. So
yeah, it looked like he just Sean Allen was right on the button with the pit limiter, but Kurt Stenberg was a little bit slow on the button.
So Brody Steen hasn't made his pit stop. We saw a few other cars. I believe Alex Cattle was one of them. Colin Warwick looks like he has made a pit stop as well. So I think we're just waiting on Brody Steen and Dane Warren at this stage to make pit stops. And
Dane Warren is in. He's just crossing the pit line now, so let's hope that he had it slowed down. Wouldn't be the first time this season that he's gotten a pit lane speed limit.
It wasn't as much on the limit as he was in race 1. I think he'll be fine because he did have margin.
But in fairness, he hasn't been under pressure the other times that he's done it, so...
well, having not necessarily pressure for the win, usually they're races that have gone away from him for whatever reason.
That's true, and he's been thinking about other things.
He might have been pushing to get back up.
Brody Steen in the pits as well, so that is everybody, I think, that has pit. So
and Warren's on the move.
He is indeed.
Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg coming down the back straight there.
So they've just passing the pit lane now.
And there is Dane Warren coming out of the pits, and he'll be ahead
well and
by
truly.
Quite some margin, I should think.
Yeah, that ends up being about, we've got about 3 seconds. It is, oh, no, it's dropping because Sean Allen obviously with much warmer tyres.
Yeah, we'll catch up a little bit throughout the first half of this lap, but then I think Dane Warren will have the pace to streak away. Whether or not he does, though, we're yet to see, because we've seen him slow up.
We have.
In the second half of these races sometimes.
And the gap is down under a second now, 0.7 of a second between Sean Allen and Dane Warren. And indeed, it looks as if he is getting backed up a little bit into Sean Allen. So, ding ding, round 2.
Well, quick.
One of our stock takes.
I'm going to say, I don't think we want to right now, because the amount that Dane Warren has just slowed up as Sean Allen has quite a mammoth slide there out of, I think that was turn number 8. Maybe we will just watch and see what happens here before we do any such thing.
So Sean Allen tucking up behind Dane Warren's Commodore as they come through the last corner. trying to get a run down to turn 1, but he wasn't able to do so at any stage during the first half of the race. And Warren always seemed to just have a little bit of leeway on him. Kurt Stenberg sets the fastest lap of the race, so they're trading it around this time around.
6.9, so that's not as fast as we saw in the first race from Dane Warren, but we haven't really got into it yet. This really is closing up, so Dane Warren is backing Sean Allen into Kurt Stenberg at the moment. This is Abu Dhabi 2016 sort of stuff, but Dane Warren doesn't have a championship on the line because he's got a huge advantage.
That was a race I tried to explain to my girlfriend, and she's getting into Formula One, but she struggled to understand why I found it so gripping at the time.
Tense. I've never been so tense watching a race.
Yeah, the second that they crossed the line and Nico was confirmed for champion, it's like my soul lifted out of my body for a moment. Everything went loose, and including my bowels. But luckily there was nothing in there.
He went there.
Anyway, as they come out of turn 8, they are basically, as they have been, considering that we've got 3 cars involved in this scrap, it's actually quite a lot less exciting than it was the first race. Kurt Stenberg's doing his level best to change that, though. He's right on the back of Sean Allen coming through the last corner.
I think Sean Allen might have made a little bit of a mistake because he's dropped off of the back of Dane Warren just a little bit, and that giving Kurt Stenberg the impetus here, and he was almost bump drafting him down the straight, and he had the pace to get up the inside of 1. Again, this is the corner. You can drive around the outside, but it puts you in a bad place for 2. And Kurt Stenberg is going to try and outbrake Sean Allen, who in the best of times is difficult to outbrake. Sean Allen will try and stay there, but he has a little wiggle and concedes the corner. And great job from Kurt Stenberg. He's up into 2nd place.
Very, very well done to Kurt Stenberg there. We saw him do similar moves with Dane Warren throughout the first race. Mick Racing in the chat just saying, I think Newcastle 2017 was a bit more tense for both Holden and Ford fans. I've no idea what he's talking about.
Different kind of tension there.
Okay.
It's the 17. That was new. That was the. I think that was the one that McLaughlin threw it all away several times. He had the championship in hand, and then got a penalty, and then got it back, and then got another penalty, and then had it all to do again, and then got it on the last lap, and then got another penalty.
Oh my god! Lovely.
A different kind of tension.
A sort of hot and cold tension.
I love championship deciders so much.
We don't have enough of them. It's always a few races before the end of the season, and then just, oh yeah, by the way, so and so is confirmed to be world champion.
Well, certainly in the Mercedes dominance days, there haven't been too many, but you got to witness that 16 one.
Yes, I had to convince my girlfriend to let me get out of bed to go watch it.
26.3. That is by far the fastest lap tonight.
He's turned it on.
He has.
Well and truly. Oh,
that's very wide.
Both very wide, and Sean Allen barely managing to hold onto his car there.
Yeah, but championship deciders, I think 2008, it's hard to go past that one.
That was the Iceman and
no, that was the year before, but
2007.
2008 was the Massa being champion
for 30 seconds. Oh, such a nice guy.
Such a nice guy.
From everything I've seen, but not a world champion.
Very close to being one.
Yep. But close does not buy you biscuits.
No, it doesn't. Well, a bit wide there. Kurt Stenberg's going to lose this position to Sean Allen, who has the inside for the next corner. And that was just a little bit of a mistake, and that has cost him 2nd place. He's going to try and get it back. I thought he conceded there. He's dove back down the inside.
Side by side almost perfectly as they come down towards turn 9. And that's an awkward corner to go side by side through. Sean Allen has to bump over the curb at turn 10. And they're still side by side coming out the last corner. Kurt Stenberg is going to get into the back and into a slipstream behind Sean Allen.
So Kurt Stenberg, well, it was clear and dry almost. I mean, yeah, we still have 3 laps to go, but he's lost the position. He's going to try the same move he did a few laps ago to get 2nd place in the first place, and it looks like he's got the job done, although Sean Allen is going to dive down the inside with a bit of a switchback, Kurt Stenberg, very late on the brakes, has actually run it a little bit too deep. Kurt's going to have the inside for the next corner though. Sean Allen will drive around the outside of him. The next corner goes to the right, so that one will be advantage Kurt Stenberg. Sean Allen's still there though. Kurt's got to be pretty strong on the brakes, and it's absolutely side by side for half a lap. That's what we're seeing here. It's still going on. Sean Allen now has the high ground. They go up over the curb. A little bit of a wiggle from both of them there. We've seen cars lose it over that curb. Sean Allen on the inside. Kurt Stenberg run out of road, and Sean Allen gets back in front.
Yeah, that's the sort of stuff we saw in race 1. Absolute side-by-side for most of the lap. Sean Allen, the beneficiary of the second place at the moment, but Kurt Stenberg is, not by a long shot, is he out of this, as he gets a big wiggle coming out of turn 8. So he's lost a little bit of time there, but he is still right on the back of Sean Allen. You can just see the cars dipping, the front cars of the front of the cars dipping as they come into the braking zones. They were basically identical going into every corner despite their different lines. So very, very close racing between these two, and it looks like we're about ready for another round, Stairs.
I think Dane Warren lifted out of it a little bit because I think he was slightly more clear. But this is an exact carbon copy of what we saw the last couple of laps. Although Kurt Stenberg didn't quite get as far up the inside as he was the previous 2 occasions. And he's tried to sell the dummy to Sean Allen, and instead he's smashed into the back of him. That is not a great move there from poor old Kurt Stenberg. He's going to relinquish the position, and it's actually as they were. So that's good driving in redressing.
He dove across to take the inside to cover it off, and then jumped on the brakes, and Kurt Stenberg just completely caught out. But as you say, they've had enough leeway to rejoin in second and third once again. So
Kurt was trying to sell Sean a dummy there, but he just didn't quite get far enough to the outside. There was more than a car's width room on the outside, but I don't know if Sean Allen moved a little bit to the right, and that was just enough. They're very small margins.
They'll be discussing it for years, like the Red Bulls at Baku.
No, I think Kurt
probably not.
Kurt probably realised that he was probably more at fault than
That's probably
Sean
why he
was.
redressed it.
Exactly.
And luckily these cars are a little bit less fragile than a Formula 1 car, and neither of them are out of this race as we're about to start the last lap, Stairs.
Yeah, so Dane Warren's going to come across the line with a 3.8 second advantage after that little snafu between Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg, which remains to be decided. But Sean has a few car lengths on Kurt Stenberg as it stands.
So looking at the moment, Kurt Stenberg actually with a decent run down to the hairpin, but Sean Allen again wisely covers off the inside. Kurt's been diving up there all night, like someone that lives near the Great Barrier Reef and particularly enjoys it. But he's trying to sneak up the inside at turn 3. Sorry, I cut across your enthusiasm with a stupid,
That's all right.
metaphor.
Well, I thought Sean seems to be bit of a wiggle from Kurt. Sean's driving defensively. He's trying not to make a mistake, but Kurt Stenberg is feeling racy. He's confident on those brakes, and it appears as though he's not going to give this one up without one hell of a fight.
Yeah, he's running out of opportunities to get this position switch done though. They're coming down to turn 8. You can see Dane Warren up ahead, coming through turn 8 just ahead of them. The gap is now 4.4 seconds. Sean Allen still leading this battle. So the only chance left for Kurt Stenberg is to get a very good run out of the last corner, try to get a swap up the inside, as he's going to do his level best, but I don't think he's going to manage to do it. Sean Allen covers off the apex, so it's going to be a drag race. Dane Warren coming across the line to win the second race here tonight.
And it looks like Kurt had the run, but Sean ran him out of road. I wonder if Kurt will be a little bit miffed about that, but the score sheet will say Sean Allen has beaten Kurt Stenberg by about 1/10 of a second, and Colin Warwick has finished in 4th place. Zach Baker will finish in 5th, ahead of Brody Steen. RSM Latino in 7th. David Nedidich and Alex Cattle round out our finishes, but it's Dane Warren who won the race in the end by about 4.5 seconds. But the battle for 2nd and 3rd, that was the one that will remain a talking point.
Absolutely. Same podium from the first race in the second race, but very different circumstances as Dane Warren gives us a show once again. Beautifully done. Yeah, that looked, as you said, looked like Sean Allen was a little bit caught out, but Kurt Stenberg having a big run with the slipstream coming out of the last corner ran him out of road barely. I asked with a question mark.
We don't really know.
We don't really know.
We'll see if we can get a replay, but often the thing times out.
Yeah, the server might tick over before we manage to get one. I can assure you that my co-commentator is doing everything he can to get one on the screen for you right now, and it looks like we might be able to sneak one in just before the session switches. So here we go, Kurt Stenberg with a very good run. Oh, went for the wrong side, should have gone for the outside of the track.
Yeah, he committed, I think, by that point.
I don't think he would have had the pace to get that second place regardless, but that would have been close, Stairs.
Well, I look forward to seeing what he has to say about that. We did ask them to come in if they had time for interviews after each race, but it is a very quick schedule, so we might not get a chance to chat till after the third race.
And depending on the results of the third race, we might just be talking to the three blokes regardless, because we've just had 2 races with the exact same podium sitters. It's been Dane Warren, Sean Allen and Kurt Stenberg in that order, twice over now. So let's see what they can serve up for us in the third race. Mighty Caprice in the chat saying, "What's up, boys?" What's up is some excellent racing so far tonight.
Yeah, Sup has been racing.
Yeah, Sup. What's that?
Classic. From around about the time of the birth of some of our races.
Oh my god. Oh, I hate to think. There's another Liam at work, Stairs. I believe I've told you, but he, unlike me, he was born in 1999.
Oh yes.
But like right at the end of 1999. So for the sake of argument, I tell him he was born in year 2000. And my goodness, it's just. It wouldn't be as bad if he wasn't also called Liam, but it's like people have started calling him the young Liam, and it's like, it's just a dagger to my heart.
So is old Liam implied, or are you just Liam? Ordinary Liam?
I think old Liam is implied. I've tried to make it. I've tried to say the original Liam. I've tried to popularize
OG
that.
Liam.
OG Liam, or Liam 1.0.
Yeah.
Or the Alpha Liam.
Yeah.
But
currently in beta testing, Liam.
None of them have really
set for release in December.
None of them have really caught on. But luckily he works at a different office now, so I don't have to deal with him.
So these problems just have a way of sorting themselves out, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
The trials and tribulations of being a public servant.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have thought Liam was a particularly common name, but I've met another one. Here we are.
I've met another Alistair, and that's not as common as Liam.
I've met plenty of Alistairs, but they've all been spelt differently.
Yeah, wrong is the word.
I mean, Alistair, an Alistair, an Alistair.
If you are wondering, Alistair is the correct spelling.
One that forms a series of platforms to change between 2 levels of a house.
Well, that's the shortened nickname, Stairs, which I chose over Al.
Or Ali G. You could have owned Ali G.
I could have, but well, I did actually get called Ali G for a time.
I remember that. For a time.
That was when I was in primary school.
And Ali G into House was still quite a new film. Again, something else probably many of us.
I bear no physical resemblance at all to Ali G, but I was still asked to say I is ready in order to appease the people who gave me that nickname. But,
absolutely. Oh, we have fun.
We do.
We do. We're here for the third qualifying session of the night. 10 minutes on the clock, yet to start ticking. But once it does, they will be off to try to set their fastest times. And who has been the fastest man so far tonight, Stairs?
Dane Warren.
Absolutely. Didn't even need to look at anything to know that.
Thomas McMillan isn't out first.
Yeah, my goodness. Is he alright? Is he ill?
Hopefully he's still in the server.
That was about to be my third question.
Because we have 9 at the moment. The numbers are going down. We need to get more people in. So if you are watching and you want to get involved in a really good Supercars Championship, then look it up on ASC. Let me get the website correct. RSM Clan, ASC.RSM Clan. Hang on, let me
Or
just
look at it,
double-check that.
if you hop over onto the Facebook, search
Yes.
for Automobilista Supercars Championship. It's got all the information there on how to join in. So-
ASC.rocksolidmates.com. That
There
is
you
the
go.
website, and there is an entry form on there. But as Madbird was saying, there is also a Facebook page with lots of information on it as well.
And while you're on the Facebook, might as well hop on to Automobilista Supercars Australia, give us a like, as well as Apex Rear Wing, if you don't mind. And since we're just waiting for our runners to finish their warm-up laps before they start qualifying, make sure that you've got us subscribed here at Automobilista Supercars Championship. Give us a like and hit that bell ding ding to be notified whenever streams are going out, as well as we do post on the Facebooks to advise as well. So I don't know why I'm playing it up like I'm a very old man that doesn't know what Facebook is, but regardless, Steve Warwick saying, really enjoy this track. I saw that you had some pretty decent racing last night, mate. So I am not surprised in the least. But Kurt Stenberg is going to be the one to lead us on the first hot lap tonight.
Just to tag on to what you were saying about the Facebooks, we've also got our Apex Rear Wing Facebook.
I did say that.
Oh, did you? Well, what I was actually using that to try and segue over to tomorrow night's round of the British Touring Car Championship that we're doing in the Apex Rear Wing YouTube channel.
That's it.
Which is, if you do find that you're missing your racing tomorrow night and you can't wait until August the 11th for the next ASC Supercars Championship race, we've got the remaining rounds of our Season 9 Championship. I think there's 3 rounds remaining.
Yep. Tomorrow's tomorrow is round 8. So
Thruxton.
Thruxton, which is a track that I don't have particularly fond memories of, but
It's a difficult circuit.
it's all corners.
Always turning.
So if you enjoy what we put on here, absolutely tune in to Apex Rear Wing YouTube channel tomorrow night at around 8 PM Central Time, Adelaide time.
7:45.
Yeah, for some BTCC action, and yeah, hop on over and have a chat to us. We'd love to have you over to watch. But Kurt Stenberg, while we've been talking, has almost completed his first hot lap. Haven't even been paying attention to the time.
But it's been looking pretty clean. We know roughly what we're aiming for a pole time, so around about a 26.7. With Kurt's been in the 27s for most of the night, so 27.1 is actually a decent benchmark for him. Brody Steen looks like he's going to be the second man across the line. We've got live timing up, which is fantastic. Excellent. Looks like Brody Steen is going to set a 27 as well, so he's in the 27.6 as Dane Warren, which we're used to seeing now, hasn't gone particularly fast on his first lap, but that's normal.
Don't let that fool you. He is not 1.5 seconds off the pace. He is just he's biding his time and lying in wait as
There he goes. Look at that.
as he goes 0.3 of a second faster than his PB through Sector 1. Only a 1/10 of a second faster than first through Sector 1. So obviously it wasn't going particularly quick last lap.
So what was it? 26.3 I think was the first, the fastest lap of the night. Oh, he's got a bit of traffic on this lap.
He does. He's got Zach Baker or possibly David Nadich. Can't quite tell.
Didn't see the number.
But regardless, he's got one of the ZB Racing guys getting in his way at turn 8.
Still up though.
Still up. Yeah, he doesn't seem to have cost him much.
He's on target for something in around a 26.3.
Jesus.
So this could well be the fastest lap we've seen all night.
Man
from
is
Dane
insane.
Warren. He's a fast man, and fast is usually related to insane.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm just making up stuff as I feel
That's
for
what
Dane
common-
Warren. 26.29!
my
That
goodness.
is definitely the fastest lap.
Blistering.
We've
He's just
seen.
been building each qualifying session. Is he just going to go back into the garage and put his feet up? Because he probably, I don't think that's going to be troubled at all. Kurt Stenberg currently closest, 0.8 down. Zach Baker just coming to finish his lap.
Yes. I think that'll be No, he improves, but it's not actually enough to improve his position. He was 5th before that, was he not?
Yep, so no change for Zach Baker. And probably no change for Zach Baker after that big moment there either. So
cars coming out of the pits currently. David Nenadich currently sat in 7th in the ZB car. He's a bit wide there on this lap, so it doesn't look like he's set to improve. Who else is on a lap? Dane Warren is probably on his in lap, I should imagine. Sean Allen has just started one.
Yep, a little bit wide there at turn 2, the hairpin, but not too bad. He can carry a little bit more speed through as a result. He does have his sister team of Alex Cattle just ahead of him, though it looks like Alex is getting out of the way and has done so. So Sean Allen unobstructed, about a 1/10 of a second down through the first sector, or 2/10 of a second thereabouts down through the first sector.
Squeaky table.
I've been rubbing my fly across it because I sort of swing myself from side to side, and it just every now and then
I commentator cam to make that sound less weird than here.
Yeah, it's just sort of the proximity that I'm standing to the table when I move my hips. I'm not making it better, am I? Sean Allen is just about to. Oh no! Well, he was about to cross the sector line, and he did cross the sector line, but that is a 100% abandoned lap.
Wasn't far off his PB.
I thought he was about to get in the way of Colin Warwick. He wasn't too far off the PB, but the sector line was basically as he was beginning to become sideways, so I think his lap would have been destroyed regardless.
So Colin is on his out lap, so he's not actually... He wouldn't have been balked by Sean Allen having that mistake.
I thought they were going to crash. Not so much the
Which
time
also
lost.
wouldn't have been ideal.
No, definitely not.
2 minutes 30 left on the clock. There would have been time to come back out, but only probably for one extra lap. So we've got Brody Steen on a lap as well. I just looked at my live timings. Seems to have crashed again. So we're, I guess we're just relying on what we can see with our 2 eyeballs on the stalks.
Well, you're seeing what's happening with, because we've been having issues with our live timing over at Apex Rear Wing as well. So having to operate without it, kind of have to be Johnny on the spot with the camera switches, keeping an eye all through the field.
So Brody Steen's on a lap 2. He's down through the second sector split. We're going to watch Colin Warwick finish this lap. See if he can improve on 5th place. He qualified in 4th for the second race.
7th for the first one, so by that logic he should be on pole.
Well up on his PB. That's a very good lap from Colin Warwick, and it's going to put him around about 3rd or 4th. He's going to be very close to Kurt Stenberg, I reckon.
Yeah, it's about bang on Kurt Stenberg time if he manages to keep that exact same pace through the rest of the lap. That looked like a very clean last sector. Not too much in it. He's about to cross the line. Whereabouts is he? And he comes in 4th place, so ends up being 0.4 of a second down on Kurt Stenberg.
Yeah.
So Kurt does seem to have a lot of pace through that last corner.
Well, I guess we're also remembering that the gap is measured to Dane Warren's sectors, so that's about 5/10 he lost to Dane through the final sector, and that's the lap, and that's what Kurt's was measured against as well. So Colin Warwick with probably a little bit of work to do if he wants to get ahead of his admin friend and co-admin. But he was up ahead of Brody Steen by less than 1/10 of a second. David Nenadich about to finish a lap.
Yeah, so Kurt Stenberg currently being out. Oh, David Neville gets a bit wild on the exit and looks like he's abandoning that lap. Kurt Stenberg being out qualified by Sean Allen once again, and it looks like he should be able to start another hot lap. He's just coming around the last corner now. There's 18 seconds left on the clock, so he would have to have a big accident here not to cross the line in time. But does he have enough fuel and tyres to start another hot lap? Time's going to elapse in about 5 seconds, so he does improve just enough to jump himself up into 2nd place.
Wow, that was a great lap from Kurt Stenberg.
0.4 of a second to the better. So Sean Allen now is on the back foot, and I don't even know if he's out there on a lap.
He's not.
He's not, so Kurt Stenberg will be starting from the front row of the grid unless We see a huge improvement from Brody Steen.
So Dane Warren's in the pits. Kurt Stenberg has one more opportunity, and he is Brody's blown his engine up. Coming across the line, he didn't improve. He's done that on purpose after crossing the line, I think.
I think
He's
so.
down by 2/10, so he's just slammed it down the gearbox and created a trail of fire. Kurt Stenberg, though, he was the last man to cross the line before the time elapsed on this qualifying session. And there's no one else on the racetrack right now. Kurt Stenberg with the track completely to himself. I think he was up by a small margin through the first sector. We wait and see what he can do to the end of the lap. He's up by 0.2 of a second. It's probably not going to be enough for Dane Warren because Dane is mega through that final sector and he's got to find another 0.2. But it's a great lap from Kurt so far.
Yeah, this is probably the strongest qualifying we've seen from Kurt Stenberg in quite a long time. I can't think of another race where he's started on the front row thereabouts as much. Ends up being 0.2 of a second down, but that is still faster than the qualifying record was last round.
That is remarkable. 26.481. You're right. That the qualifying record, that would have been enough to beat it by 0.3 of a second. The qualifying record from last round.
So he's obviously done a fair bit of practice, or he's just in a much better groove tonight. But regardless, he's going to be starting from alongside Dane Warren. We saw in the first race, he managed to get the whole shot around Dane Warren into turn 1. Will he manage to do it again, Stairs?
Well, we'll find out after the break.
Absolutely.
All the information you want about the Automobilista Supercars Championship is now all in one place. Visit asc.rocksolidmates.com for all the official ASC content, including season calendars, results and championship points, broadcast information, rules and regulations, lap records and more. You can also get updates on our official ASC Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell notification icon to get notified whenever we go live for all championship races.
The Automobilista Supercars Championship is proudly brought to you by RSM, Rock Solid Mates, ARW, Apex Rear Wing, CW, Colin Warwick Designs, and Jinx Shifters.
Welcome back to Sydney Motorsport Park for round 7 of the Automobilista Supercars Championship. This is, we've had 5 races in a row.
Yeah,
it's the 6th that we're about to have.
We're here for round 7, but we're here for race 6 at SMP.
I really hope they get to
God,
Darwin for the next round.
Please, something. I mean, it's been not to take away from the racing tonight. It's been fantastic, but I would very much like to see a different sequence of corners.
But we've made up for it because we've now raced this racetrack about the same as what we would have if we had one race here this year and one round, I should say, here this year and one round last year, which we didn't because of I can't remember the circumstances surrounding the
it was used
omission of SMP last year.
It was used for a practice round, I think, at the start of the season, but not for points.
Yes.
But yeah, not sure what the reason was, but regardless, we have been here now more than enough, I think it's fair to say.
Well, the next round is set for the 11th of August, which is Hidden Valley Raceway in Darwin. So
Kurt Stenberg's home track. Well, not home track, but...
no, that's Barbagallo.
Yeah, but Kurt Stenberg built
right.
the Hidden Valley.
I see what you mean. Yes, he did build that
Automobilista,
circuit.
And he seems to be particularly knowledgeable about it. Him and Thomas McMillan had a real-life scrap there.
Cracking battle.
Last season, so...
That was the highlight.
So
one of the highlights of the year.
That real-life Supercars gets to go there. Or maybe ASC will just have to say, you know what, we're not running SMP for a third time.
Well, I doubt Supercars will do that.
They need to do... Because it's like, at a certain point, your viewership's going to go, oh. Well, I think if there was a third Grand Prix at Austria, then people would have been like, eh.
I hope they get that Bahrain sort of fake oval thing.
Oh, the big... Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Just a huge square Almost.
Mugello on the calendar, following the Italian Grand Prix in Monza, so we get a Tuscan Grand Prix as well.
I'm very excited. I don't even know if I've ever raced Mugello in like sim.
You have.
Have I?
Yes, we raced it in season 2 of the Apex Rear Wing Championship. That was in the stock class.
In the stock V8s.
Yes. I think you've buried that from your memory for
let's
reasons that I won't discuss in great detail.
I'll go have a quick peep and see what my results were at that race. I imagine that there's a reason I've forgotten about it.
Fill for time, shall I? We haven't got anyone on the track in this warm-up, so they're all pretty happy with the mileage that they've done so far in Sydney Motorsport Park. Time is about to elapse.
Shorter warm-up sessions, which is quite nice. 3
minutes.
I finished. Oh no, I'm looking. That's the whole season. It was the last. Oh yes, no.
We do have a season review on the Apex Rear Wing channel of season 2.
We do indeed.
Which was the, which was our second season, of course.
No, I do remember that. I was on for a podium and then I threw it away on the last lap in the reverse grid race, and I was very annoyed with myself. And Megatron, who was the beneficiary of my fuck up, but
of your what?
Of my bugger up, but it probably wasn't fair for me to be angry at him. But in the moment, regardless,
I was the beneficiary of one of your fudge ups in that series too, at Gold Coast. I don't know why I brought that up. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I've come to terms with it. I can't remember what it was, but I remember there was something where I think we were just going through and watching old races or something in our Slack channel, and you said out of nowhere, man, but I've come to the point in my life where I can accept that this incident was my fault.
I can't remember which one that was.
And it just filled me with warmth. We are here at the Sydney Motorsport Park for the 6th time in a row. 2 times tyre wear rather than 3 times, which we had last time out, so tyres aren't exploding tonight, which is very nice for all of our runners, I'm sure.
Love it.
There are 11 corners. You've seen them so far tonight many times, and we will see them for another 16 laps. And track record there by Dane Warren, that's been smashed. I think the fastest race lap time that he set was a 26.4 or something similar to that.
Alright, and they're off, and I've accidentally turned on the labels and can't remember how to turn them off.
It's a tab is the default?
That's the default. Yep. It's definitely not what I've changed.
Excellent.
So we're just going to have to bear with that for the time being.
After all of the praise we've received from how professional and slick we are,
I'm having a nightmare.
It happens.
3 in a row.
Don't stress about it. Dane Warren on pole for the 3rd time tonight, and for who knows how many time in succession, with Kurt Stenberg next to him on the front row of the grid. Will Kurt Stenberg be able to get the whole shot through as he did in race 1 tonight? Sean Allen in 3rd place, who has managed 2 second place finishes tonight. Will he make it 3 on the trot, or even a win? Colin Warwick starting out from 4th, which is the same place he finished, or the same place he started the previous race. Brody Steen in 5th, so decent qualifying showing again from the Race on Oars driver. RSM Latino Zach Baker in 6th, but well and truly out of position, so that would be why I was confused. RSM Latino is in fact in 7th, with Alex Cattle behind him in... Oh my goodness. What has happened to the ZB Racing guys? They're well and truly out of position.
Yeah, they're not exactly known for lining up in the right order during the warm-up lap.
David Nedidich in 8th. Alex Cattle rounding out our 9 runners in 9th place, but all eyes, I imagine, are going to be, as they have been all night, on this man and those that happen to be around him, Dane Warren.
Once again, if you've just joined us, we have been struggling with some technical issues throughout tonight, which we will endeavour to rectify for the next round, but tends to result in there being a little bit of stuttery frame rates during the opening stage of the race, until at least they can fan out a little bit, and then we tend to get clearer viewing then. But we're about to get racing here at Sydney Motorsport Park for the final time in 2 rounds.
And they're off.
Away they go. Another great start from Kurt Stenberg. Carbon copy of what happened to them in the first round, when the first race tonight. And Kurt Stenberg gets the whole shot into the first corner. Great job.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's well and truly through and into the lead. Dane Warren is already on the attack, trying to go for the inside at the turn.
Oh, they get into each other there.
Looks like Sean Allen maybe had a little bit of a bump there with Dane Warren as well. Sean Allen looking to take that second place from Dane Warren, but is pushed out of the picture. But Kurt Stenberg, once again, with an incredible start, has taken the lead from Dane Warren. Can he now repeat what he did in the first race and keep that Dane Warren behind him?
Good question. Very good question indeed. So, Dane Warren on the attack. Here he goes. Oh, what on earth is going on? Looks like he's putting Kurt Stenberg under a significant amount of pressure coming up the inside of him, but Kurt Stenberg stays ahead for the time being.
Yeah, Kurt Stenberg now having to do that defensive line we've seen Dane Warren do all night through turn 8 as they continue on through the race. Looks like RSM Latino's had a sloppy start. He's down to last. But Dane Warren just all over the back of Kurt Stenberg as they come through the last corner. Kurt Stenberg leads this race at the end of lap 1. Dane Warren, though, is going to have an excellent run behind the Trans-Tasman racing driver all the way down to turn 1. It's difficult to make the pass down at turn 1, but you can definitely set yourself up for a decent pass at turn 2. Behind them, Colin Warwick is looking at having a bit of a scrap with Sean Allen, but all eyes on this lead battle. Kurt Stenberg looks like he's built enough of a gap to be safe in turn 2. Dane Warren closes it up a little bit as Kurt Stenberg goes deep, but is not able to take that position. So Kurt Stenberg.
David Nenadich has had a bit of a spin. This has happened at turn...
I reckon 3? Turn 3?
See a replay of what happened there. Down at turn 2, I believe. On the exit of... You might be right, it might have been 3. On the approach 2. So... That's unfortunate for David Nenadich. He was right in the thick of it, and now he's got it all to do. Down in 9th place. Meanwhile, it is Kurt Stenberg leading from Dane Warren, and Dane Warren has a look down the inside. It was one of those little feints to the inside that we've seen Kurt Stenberg do to Sean Allen quite a bit throughout the course of tonight's racing, but this is playing out quite similarly to what we saw happen in race 1, but this time Sean Allen is a lot closer.
Yeah, and Kurt Stenberg just seems to be a little bit more confident this time around. He's keeping that car well and truly pointed in the right direction. First race he was a little bit squirrely, which let Dane Warren up alongside him in a couple of places where he otherwise wouldn't have managed to. Looks like he's going to be able to keep ahead coming into turn 1. Dane Warren will get a bit of a slipstream coming out of it and all the way down to turn 2. A little bit dab of the brakes there from Dane Warren. Not that I would have thought they're just lifting and throwing it in, but I haven't actually raced a supercar around here.
Bit of bump and run.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Without the run. Very much nuts to butts. Here is the onboard of Dane Warren right up the chuff of Kurt Stenberg, who tried to stop him from coming up the inside there, but Dane just forced the issue, and they go side by side, and Sean Allen with a watching brief, hoping that they get into each other a little bit more, and well, I think he's getting his wish as it stands. Just needs to get a bit closer.
Kurt trying to cover off the inside coming down into turn 6, and he's managed to do so. They've if anyone knows how to drive side by side and where the best place to be at any particular corner is, it's these two, because they've been side by side through probably all of these corners at some stage tonight. So they are going to well and truly know, okay, I need to be on the outside for this corner, because then I'll be on the inside for the next 3 corners.
This is Sean Allen's view. Best seat in the house, I should think.
I was about to say, beautiful shot. And he is just, yeah, just at the moment these two come to blows, he's going to be all over them like sweat on a monkey. He is just 0.8 of a second behind, so really not that far.
Kurt Stenberg sweating like a gypsy with a mortgage right now.
Oh, I'd forgotten about that one. Throws himself into turn 1 behind Kurt Stenberg.
Oh.
Very deep, but manages to hold on to it. It's going to cut for the inside. That was a split-second decision. Kurt Stenberg with a very, very wide line, and it looks as if Dane Warren has taken the position, but Kurt Stenberg manages to flick up the inside at turn 3.
Whoa! Again, side by side. It's very, very difficult to make the pass stick here because of the way that the racetrack goes from one direction to the next. You get onto the inside, and then the inside becomes the outside, and then the next corner it might favour you, but it's very much a game of chess as to when you pull the trigger here. It's still Dane Warren slightly ahead, but look at how much Sean Allen has closed up while these two are fighting. This is the view from Sean Allen's bonnet. He's going to try and get up the inside of Kurt Stenberg here.
Yeah, so they're side by side. That means neither of them are benefiting from a slipstream. But the one man that is benefiting from a slipstream is Sean Allen, who's been behind this battle. But a big moment there coming out of turn 8.
Yeah, he lost a few car lengths with that little wiggle.
He did indeed. So Dane Warren now free to ignore that car in his rearview mirror for a little bit of time and set about that car outside his windscreen.
So that's 4 laps done.
Yeah, jeez. Oh, they don't half keep us talking. So Dane Warren, again, incredible run down this straight, but unable... Oh, big moment. So he goes very, very wide. Sean Allen might very well have a good run down, and to turn 2, he goes down the outside of the hairpin, and Dane Warren bumps him a little bit wide. Sean Allen's still there, so he might have the inside coming into turn 3, and he does.
That's Kurt Stenberg with breathing room. He's got a second advantage with these two fighting each other, and Sean Allen getting ahead of Dane Warren. That slight little wiggle through turn 1 was so costly for him.
It's been considered tonight whether Dane Warren has been sort of lifting out of it a little bit to make a battle of it. And he might be slightly regretting that decision now because he's put himself in a battle for second rather than a battle for first. He has just knocked Sean Allen back to 3rd place, but Sean Allen's still right on the back of him and coming up to the part of the track where you get an incredibly big slipstream all the way down to turn 1.
Dane Warren parking it on the apex. He was defensive into turn 8 there, going into there. Yes, indeed.
Yes, the hairpin, turn 8.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
So even on this lap since passing Sean Allen, he's taken, Dane Warren I should say, he's taken 0.3 of a second out of Kurt Stenberg.
Yep, so just the amount of pace that this man has, it's absolutely ridiculous. He absolutely smashed the qualifying record in all 3 qualifying sessions tonight, and he just continues to improve by leaps and bounds. And it looks like he has got the pace to keep ahead of Sean Allen as well. No challenge into turn 2 from the Race on Oz driver. It goes very deep.
So not too far ahead of the battle for 4th and 5th between Colin Warwick and Brodie Steen. This is Brodie Steen's bonnet cam. And that is Colin Warwick just up the road. And you can see right on the right-hand side there, going through that corner, is the battle for the lead with 1st, 2nd and 3rd separated by not much at all.
They haven't actually cleared off that much, have they? Like,
yeah, that's the point I was making.
Yeah, they're quite... Sorry. just to reiterate, Brodie Steen ducks for the inside, but he's going to get his nose chopped off if he tried to keep his car there.
Yeah.
And Dane Warren's caught right up to the back of Kurt Stenberg.
It was such an unexpected dive that he didn't have any scuba diving equipment at all on his person.
Yeah, it's like a dive that it's like your plane has crashed at the Great Barrier Reef, and so you've had to jump out the plane. So it's nice to dive at the Great Barrier Reef, but you'd probably rather do it in other circumstances.
Yes. I agree. Missed the start of that, so I'm gonna... Oh, they're doing this again. It's very early to be making a pit stop.
I think that was just trying to break the slipstream more so than
sort of
dummying into the pits. And Dane Warren ducks for the inside just to give Kurt Stenberg something to think about. Kurt's good.
Oh, that's going to allow Dane Warren to get a run up the inside of 2, and a second invitation was not required. There was no save the date there. But Dane Warren had already earmarked the date when he had spied on Kurt Stenberg's Facebook and ascertained what the wedding date was.
It's like Kurt had thrown up the event on Facebook the night of the event, about 20 minutes out from the start, and Dane had nothing really to do that night, so he was just on Facebook, saw it pop up, RSVP'd immediately and hopped in the car.
What are we talking about?
I have no idea. Point being, Dane Warren is back in the lead of this race with Kurt Stenberg about 0.4 of a second behind him. Sean Allen another second or so back on that.
Sean Allen, 3rd place currently. He'll be licking his lips. It's all coming a little bit closer. It's difficult to tell, isn't it? A moment ago, Sean Allen was ahead of Dane Warren. Now Dane Warren is in the lead again.
It seems to be very changeable, this race. Sean Allen would very much like to make it 3 second places on the trot rather than 2 second places and a third. Imagine he'd even more like to have 2 second places and a first.
But, Kurt's in the pits.
That seems early. Turns lap 7.
The trigger has been pulled.
I reckon they were pitting around lap 8, lap 9 in the first 2 races. So will a bit of fresh rubber help Kurt Stenberg close this gap to Dane Warren?
And has anyone else elected to take pit service? It looks like we've got Colin Warwick as well.
Looks like his box is right in front of Kurt Stenberg. He had to cut across in front of him.
Kurt didn't have too much trouble getting out of his box, so... What?
Just getting out of a box. Box is another word for the female parts.
It's a lot harder to get into a box than out of it.
Kurt Stenberg leaving the pits as Dane Warren is coming through. I reckon that is turn 5. No, that was turn 6. This is turn 7. He's coming up to turn 8. My goodness. Sorry, I was still just...
So Dane's, we'll move swiftly on. Dane Warren with 2 seconds on Sean Allen. That's stretched, I think. Without the added distraction of Kurt Stenberg, I think Dane has been allowed to stretch his legs just a little bit on this lap, with Kurt making his pit stop.
Absolutely. Dane Warren coming around the last corner. Is he going to dive in? Looks like he is, unless he's throwing a very, very wide dummy, but he is not. So Sean Allen mimics him into the pits.
Does indeed. So, I'm going to see any more pit callers, or well, it looks like Brody Steen's staying out. So he's going to lead this race by the looks of it.
Kurt Stenberg's just coming through turn 8 as we speak. Oops. So it's about... This looks like pretty much the same as we've seen each time tonight with the runner on the fresh tyres. Just coming through the last corner now as Dane Warren is moving again in the pit lane. So
Alex Cattle, I think RSM Latino, and one of the ZB guys, I think that's David Nenadich, also in the pits, because Zach Baker is in 2nd place behind Brody Steen. So it's just Brody Steen and Zach Baker yet to make pit stops. So here is Kurt Stenberg approaching turn 1. And this is where Colin Warwick is.
There he is in the background, and Sean Allen exiting as well. Has Sean Allen made up the position on Kurt Stenberg? No, is the answer to that question.
And this is the view from Kurt Stenberg, looking at Dane Warren just up ahead. So they're in 3rd and 4th, which will effectively become 1st and 2nd once Brody Steen and Zach Baker take service.
Yeah, and he's got slightly warmer tyres and brakes than Dane Warren does Kurt Stenberg at this stage. Dane Warren's tyres will have just come out of the blankets, but they're trundled down the pit lane at very, very slow speed. So Kurt Stenberg closed that gap right up on him. It's down to about 3/4 tenths of a second now. Well, it's academic. You can see it right on the back of his bumper.
And Sean Allen is about 1 second, 2 seconds behind Kurt. So that gap between Sean Allen and... Ooh, bit of a moment there as Kurt looks around the outside of Dane Warren.
I wasn't sure if that was a mistake or if he was trying to, if it was an actual overtaking attempt.
I think his overtaking attempts always look like mistakes because he's trying to take Dane Warren completely by surprise.
It seems to be a decent strategy. He's right on the back of him coming through the last corner, and we've seen Kurt Stenberg. He's managed to get some pretty decent runs down the start-finish straight as Dane Warren tries to break the toe. Does Lewis Hambleton across the start-finish straight, and right on the back of him. That is some excellent car control from Kurt Stenberg not to run into the back of Dane Warren. They side by side coming down into turn 2, but
Dane covered that one off.
Closed the door.
Kurt managed to find his way through. He's like, I want to get through that door.
He shoved his foot in the door just as Dane Warren was shutting it.
There was no invitation.
No, exactly. Dane Warren is now the one with the Facebook event that Kurt Stenberg has shown up uninvited to. but I've lost the point of this metaphor. Dane Warren, however, is still in the lead.
He is in the lead. Well, the effective lead once Zach
Effective
Baker hasn't made his pit stop. And lap 9, that's quite a long way in. But I was expecting a wider pit window, to be honest. We saw a very narrow one last round with the... everyone basically had to pit exactly on the halfway distance or they would fall off the road with cliff-like tyre wear.
Absolutely.
But tyre wear down to ×2 this time round, and we were expecting them to be able to go a fair bit longer into the race, but they still have elected to break up the race almost exactly in half.
I guess the question is how big a difference that is with the tyre wear. If there's not too much drop off with the tyres and you're not feeling it too bad at the end of a stint, then there's not really much point in what am I trying to say? In pitting later to get some fresher tyres towards the end of the race.
That's true.
So potentially overcorrected. But it's a difficult line to walk, especially when you're doing 3 races and they're all quite short.
I think it does. The tyre wear model on these cars isn't exactly very linear. They seem to hold their pace quite well for most of the tyre life
And then
until
just obliterate themselves.
exactly right at the end they fall completely apart.
Zach Baker has pit, so Dane Warren now back in the lead.
So if they found a way to get a more linear tyre wear model into this, it would probably open up the strategy a bit more for the undercut, and then you might see people pulling the trigger very early and then trying to hang on in the dying stages of the race, and maybe, you know, you could see some surprises there. But at the moment, Dane Warren is pulling away from Kurt Stenberg.
That's no surprise.
No.
Well,
Same podium if finishes like this. The same 3 on the podium for all 3 races.
that makes it easy for the interviews. Sean Allen would very much like to get up ahead of Kurt Stenberg and make it the exact same podium positions for all 3 races, but I have to wait and see if that comes to fruition. At the moment, unless Kurt Stenberg has an error, doesn't look like it. There is a long way to go. 5 more laps yet to run. Or sorry, 4 more laps.
26.2.
Jesus.
Dane Warren fastest. Just sets lap record after lap record, doesn't he?
Yeah, just is like he's not even thinking about it. It's sort of the Lando Norris of this particular series. Is Lando Norris actually setting lap records or just fastest laps? I think just fastest
Yes,
laps.
done it. He did it in both the Austrian races, didn't he? Fastest lap. I'm trying to remember.
Yep, especially in that first one where he got fastest lap, which was enough to get him within 5 seconds of Lewis Hamilton and onto the podium. So very clutch fast lap from Lando Norris there. Of course, we're not watching Formula One. We're watching Automobilista Supercars Championship, and Colin Warwick with a bit of a lock-up coming into turn 4 has given Brody Steen a bit more of an opportunity. But this battle's been raging for the entire race thus far.
Yeah, Colin Warwick doing a good job keeping what appears to be a faster Brody Steen behind him. The battle for the leads just hotted up. They must have seen that we cut off away from them, and I think Dane Warren slowed up a bit after setting the fastest lap of the race on the previous occasion.
They're getting a little green-eyed with their TV time, I think. They're not happy when they're not on the screen.
Dane Warren clearly wants extra airtime for the sponsor that he doesn't have on the side of his car.
for the sponsorship that is just the Port Power colours. Black,
a slightly wrong
teal,
shade of teal there.
Yeah, slightly, but it's close enough. As a long-time Port supporter, I'll allow it.
You allow it?
I'll allow it.
Yeah.
I'm also a long-time Fremantle supporter, but didn't make it over for the grand final.
Is Dane Warren going to have an argument with Eddie Maguire as to whether he can have the traditional livery with prison bars on?
I can only hope so, and I can only hope someone just punches Eddie Maguire in the face, because, like, honestly, mate, pull your head in. Anyway, not even... Oh!
A little bit wide on the grass there for Kurt Stenberg.
But no tank slapper into the wall on this occasion, lucky for him.
No
Unlucky
tank
for Sean
slapper
Allen.
into the wall on this occasion for him, lucky for him indeed. I think I added a couple of words in there that you didn't say.
Appreciate it greatly. That was very odd hearing that echoed back to me.
Yeah, you're feeling it in the legs too.
I am a little bit.
Let's do this.
We're both... If we had commentator cam on, my goodness, because we're both doing sort of like a groovy little dance.
Yeah.
As we just try to get some feeling back into our knees as Kurt Stenberg puts a little bit of feeling into the back bumper of Dane Warren.
Dane Warren.
Darren Warren.
Darren
My
Warren.
goodness. I don't know where I got Darren from. Do apologise to Dane. Oh, I guess the first letter is D and then Warren, so if you take the W out, then
is that where you get
then
Darren?
it's Darren.
There you go.
That's what I'm going to call him from now on. So Darren,
I'm sure he'll love
just
that.
ahead of Kurt Stenberg as they come down towards turn 1. Kurt Stenberg looking for the inside at turn 1, but
I reckon he's going to have a look at 2 if he stays close enough. Oh, I think Dane had the exact same thought I did.
I think he did. They've definitely had enough experience battling each other here tonight to know where their preferential overtaking points are, and that's one of Kurt Stenberg. So Dane did a very good job covering that off.
Well, Kurt was a bit loose on the outside, on the exit of 3 there, but he hasn't lost time out of that. He's still exactly where he wants to be.
Well, where he wants to be is in front of Dane.
Well,
Warren.
I see your point, but you know, sometimes it's more fun being the hunter than the hunted.
Yeah.
But I think Dane Warren is certainly enjoying this.
Driver in Apex rear wing called Sam Smith, who definitely races better when he's got someone in front of him. As we say every single week, he drives better with a carrot and not another root vegetable. So Kurt Stenberg doing his best to go around the outside at turn 8. That's not going to work.
You don't dangle a beetroot in front of a donkey to make it go for, you know.
I don't know. Have you
forwards.
tried?
Well, that's a good point. I can't argue that. I've not tried.
All we have is anecdotal evidence.
Something
from,
to add to the bucket list.
Dangle a beetroot in front of a donkey and see if it moves towards it.
Come on, Eeyore, get going.
That'd be I feel like if you had a donkey, you can't call it Eeyore because Eeyore was like depressed and not happy with his lot in life. And
Would you? I'd be depressed if someone dangled a beetroot in front of a carrot in front of me.
in front of a carrot in front of you.
Instead of a carrot.
You have to get through the beetroot to have the carrot.
Yeah,
That would be true torture.
We've got some side-by-side stuff going on here.
We do.
Oh,
and it's
stopped us.
evaporated.
Oh, big wiggle there for Kurt. Don't overheat the tyres.
No, all go into the wall indeed. Sean Allen just licking his lips thinking that second place is not as far away as I maybe thought it was.
Top 3 in this race, top 3 in the championship as well. Not in that order though. Sean Allen is ahead in the points of Kurt Stenberg.
As Kurt looks for the inside at turn 6 and hasn't managed to do it, slips in behind him again, but these two are right on each other this entire race so far. And Kurt looks for the inside, but Dane covers it off.
Oh, there was contact there, I reckon.
He's trying to push the door open, and it looks like he's succeeded. They're side by side coming out of the hairpin.
Rubbing's racing.
And it looks like Kurt has had to yield that. Dane would have gotten a better run around the outside. Speaking of around the outside, Kurt Stenberg coming around the outside of that corner. Did you
There's a long way around.
Did you feel me struggling there?
Yeah, your arms were... I could see the veins popping as you were drawing that longbow back. But this is the last lap of the race, Madbird, and it's on for young and old. I think Sean Allen might have an outside chance of winning this race if these two have each other off, but Kurt Stenberg's certainly not going to die wondering. He's right behind race leader Dane Warren, who's 2-0 so far tonight, and has only lost 1 of the 5 races we've had so far at... drive-through penalty! Too many track cuts for Kurt Stenberg. That's it. That means that's going to put him well
he can't
down.
Serve it because so that'll add a lap to his time, won't it? That's how Automobilista works.
Yeah, and we've got a huge battle going on behind as well for the well, not the podium positions, but the winner of this battle will be on the podium because Kurt Stenberg is going to lose this spot. So Colin Warwick is currently in what will become 3rd, ahead of Brodie Steen and Zach Baker right behind.
Yeah, this is incredibly close. So we're back watching Kurt Stenberg, who's now looking to take the lead just
for pride.
Just for pride's sake. Sean Allen is going to get his wish of a 3rd, 2nd place finish tonight. Meanwhile, behind them, Colin Warwick is still in the lead. Zach Baker is pressurising Brodie Steen, which is probably helping Colin Warwick out quite a lot because he's got to think about the car behind him rather than the car ahead of him. And Dane Warren is going to cross the line to take another win in emphatic fashion.
Yeah, Kurt went to go into the pits, but I think he's realised it's the last lap, and so he's just decided to let the game figure it out. Currently 3rd now. It's side by side between Brodie Steen. He's been behind Colin Warwick for the entire race, but Colin's managed to get up. Oh, it's a drag race. Colin Warwick I think
Brody
it's going to
Steen.
lose out. Brody Steen is going to lose out to Colin. Brody Steen is going to get ahead of Colin Warwick as I fluff my words. And so that means Brody Steen is going to get on the podium for a double race on Oz podium.
Was it Steve Warwick who lost a race?
Steve
Steve Burko lost a race in the Super 2s on the last corner on the last lap. So Colin Warwick's lost a podium on the last corner on the last lap.
He
of
wouldn't
race
have known
3.
that either, probably. Well, having said that,
They're in the same Discord chat, so
yeah, he might have known that.
Might have
actually.
known that, but my goodness, that came out of nowhere. That ending, that was sort of bubbling the entire time and then exploded like a volcano.
It did. Yeah.
My goodness.
Our lost for words, man.
As am I, Stairs.
Lost for words.
Lost for words. So that was the 6th race in a row here at Sydney Motorsport Park.
So Dane Warren won all but one of the 6 races. Sean Allen getting the other one, but Sean Allen, podium sitter
run of
in all
form.
6 races.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That is, he's definitely He's definitely looking like the second best man in the championship at the moment. That sounded backhanded, but when the first best man in the championship is Dane Warren, it really isn't.
So that's killed Kurt Stenberg's result. He's gone down to 9th with the time being added at the end of that race. So that's really quite harsh because it puts him behind RSM Latino, who finished 38 seconds off the lead. And I don't think a drive-through penalty would have cost that much time, but
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure about that.
Maybe they'll change, maybe because it is an Automobilista thing where if you can't serve the penalty, it just adds a lap to your tally. So they may well revise that in the results, but regardless, he's off the podium, and Brody Steen is onto the podium. So a very good night for Race on Oz. As
They're well clear now in the championship for the teams, especially since I think second place was it was ZB Racing, but then it was Altus Esports, which no longer
exists
in this championship. Well, they exist, but not with Dane Warren, as Dane Warren has now become a privateer. I believe we've got Kurt Stenberg in the chat, so we can have a bit of a post-race interview. Kurt, have you got us?
I've got you guys.
Excellent. Shame about what happened to you in that last race with the penalty, but it was a great show you guys were putting on, and 2 podiums in race 1 and 2 as well.
Yeah, I'm mega disappointed about that. I got the final warning with 10 laps to go, and I'm actually surprised. I went off way on the grass about 2 laps before, and then I just finally touched the grass there and got handed the drive-through, and then, yeah, the second one was just stake out of frustration. So, yeah, pretty frustrating to get 2 drive-throughs on the final lap after that drive. Felt like I had pace over Sean for most of the night, but just couldn't beat him, and finally had the opportunity to, and, yeah, threw it away.
Oh well, commiserations there, Kurt. Unfortunate, didn't know about the second drive-through there, so that's obviously put you down to 9th. But at least there's still some points. It's not a DNF.
Yeah, it's better than a DNF. And it's probably the best night for it to happen with such a grid, but it's still not ideal.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations anyway on some terrific pace tonight, and look forward to seeing what you can produce at the next round.
Yep, no worries. Look forward to it. To Hidden Valley, it's a favourite of mine, so keen to get up there.
Absolutely. We were talking about that during the broadcast, weren't we, Madbird?
Absolutely. Can't wait to get up there. I believe I've got Sean Allen, 3-time second place finisher tonight here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Bloody good racing from yourself, Sean, and taking advantage of some opportunities to bounce yourself up into that second place. How did you find the racing tonight, mate?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was definitely the 3rd fastest car. I don't know. The car was mega through the race, but it just felt amazing. But yeah, sort of Kurt's downfalls I was able to just take advantage of, and yeah, get a few seconds.
Yeah, well, luck and the ability to take advantage of opportunities that are handed to you are part of racing. So you did very well to capitalise when those opportunities came your way. And Hidden Valley next time out, are you a fan of the Darwin Triple Crown?
I do like it, but last year's results weren't perfect, and there's one memorable incident from that round. So I'm hoping to be further up the grid this year.
Absolutely. Crossed fingers for you, mate, and very much look forward to seeing you out there next round.
Thanks, mate.
And turning lastly to our race winner 3 for 3 tonight, and 5 out of 6 for Sydney Motorsport Park in the last couple of rounds. Dane Warren, many congratulations. It looked like you were just having fun tonight.
Yeah, that was the aim, to have a bit of a pit party with Kurt, and had a bit of one with Sean as well in the second race, which was got a bit interesting towards the end. But yeah, it was good fun tonight.
Yeah, we saw the jink into the pit lane in race 1, and I think you did it in one of the other races as well. Good sort of tactical, I guess, deception there.
The old dive into the pit lane, but yeah, that could have ended poorly for me. But yeah, it was just, I don't know, a bit more fun tonight considering the smaller grid, and yeah, just didn't try to take it as seriously and run away with it. It gets a bit boring doing that.
Well, it certainly kept us entertained all throughout tonight, so thank you for that. And moving on to Hidden Valley next round, assuming that we don't lose that due to COVID restrictions. How are you feeling about that next round?
Well, I'm pretty sure the last time I raced at Hidden Valley, which would have been the Aussie Race Car Series, my ex-teammate pretty much straight lined me into turn 1, so...
So it can only go better than that then.
What was that?
It can only go better than that then.
Yes, exactly. anything better than last.
Yes, well, looks like that is going to be the next round, so we certainly hope it stays that way and you can improve on that. Again, lap records went tumbling tonight, and we saw some of your rivals set lap times that would have been good enough for pole last time we visited SMP, but you lowered the bar once again.
Yeah, that's surprising, because I was talking to Kurt about it earlier, and the track seems a bit slower, because I could have sworn we were doing 25s last round, but to hear that's interesting. I'll take it. Yeah,
well, I was assuming that all the figures on the website are correct, but we saw 26.7s on there from last round, but those lap times were beaten by about 4 or 5 tenths of a second from what we could see. So congratulations on that.
And one more to add to the resume, I suppose.
Absolutely. Thanks again for your time, Dane, and we look forward to seeing you in the next round at Hidden Valley.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Cheers. And Madbird, what are your thoughts on the night?
Cracking racing. Lots and lots of side-by-side. I was immensely entertained for pretty much the entire time, all 3 races, so that was very good to see. And some excellent racing, some good results for a lot of drivers, and a bit of a smaller grid, so hopefully next time out we get the numbers back up a bit.
100% agree with that one, and we'll go away and fix some of the technical issues that have been plaguing us lately, but half of that is probably going to be related to the nighttime, daytime thing, so apologies for that, but do, well, thank you indeed for sticking around. It looks like we got most of the races through with a fairly smooth frame rate, but just a little bit of stuttering here and there in some of the earlier races.
Yeah, it's Automobilista is not a perfect beast, so we do what we can with it. But regardless, it still produced some absolutely fantastic racing tonight, and I am very, very keen to see something other than Sydney Motorsport Park.
Hidden Valley, here we come. We'll see you there on the 11th of August.
Thanks very much.
Bye for now.